If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon, link is in the description. Additionally, if you would like to request novels and access my Google Drive where I have 200 plus audiobooks, then you can join my Patreon, link is also provided in the description.
Chapter 21, Annual Hashira Meeting. I'm not late, right? Asked a man with half his face obscured by a black cloth as he approached the group. This man is none other than the Shadow Hashira, Hanabi Jinsei. He's the oldest Hashira by age, having attained his rank in his 30s. Kane greeted him warmly. Hanabi-san. You aren't late. Oyakata-sama hasn't arrived yet, nor has the water Hashira. Tomioka hasn't arrived yet. The Shadow Hashira asked. I have arrived, Jiu Tomioka announced, his voice calm and collected as he stood a few paces away from the others, gazing at the sky with an expressionless face. When did he come? I didn't notice him at all. Kane thought in her heart. Tisk. Every time I see your face, I get the urge to punch it, Wind Hashira Sanamai snapped. Jiu ignored him, his expression remaining stoic, which only further riled the Wind Hashira, driving him to reach for his katana. Before Sanamai could slash his sword at Jiu, the Stone Hashira intervened, halting him with a firm tone. Stop it! The master has arrived. Good morning, everyone, Kaguya Yubayashiki greeted as he emerged from the door. Thank you all for taking the time to attend the semi-annual meeting despite your busy schedules. As usual, he was clad in a white haori over his plain black kimono. The purple curse mark had already begun to cover his right eye, while his left eye appeared to have lost its ability to see. Let's get inside before we begin our meeting. We have important things to discuss. Kaguya Yubayashiki spoke in a soothing and considerate voice. Yes, everyone chorused in agreement, following him into the mansion. In a serene chamber, the Hashiras seated themselves in an orderly fashion, with Yubayashiki occupying the central position as the head. First, let me apologize as I know that you have all been burdened with heavy tasks lately. This is primarily due to the vacancies in our Hashira ranks. As you are aware, the Flame Hashira has recently retired. Yubayashiki apologized before continuing. I cannot ask him to continue, given his condition. However, there's no need to worry. We have outstanding demon slayers among us, and with time, they will rise to become Hashiras. Yubayashiki's words convey how much he believes in the young slayers. Next, let's discuss Kane's encounter with Upper Moon 2, Doma, Yubayashiki stated. Kane then proceeded to recount the events of that day. As she described the power of the Upper Moon demon Doma, the eyes of the other Hashiras widened in astonishment. That demon never showed a hint of emotion from the start, no joy, no anger, no hatred, nothing. From what I saw, its favorite pastime seems to be consuming young girls. It was a fierce battle, one I couldn't have won. I don't think any of us could defeat that demon alone. He played with me from the start, as if he was enjoying the process of tiring out the prey before consuming it. For the first time since becoming a Hashira, I felt powerless. If not for Ryu's intervention and the sunrise, there's a good chance I would not be here today alive. Are you sure that demon is that strong? Or are you just putting them on a high pedestal because you couldn't defeat it? Sanamai hissed back, skeptical. Before Kane could respond, Yubayashiki interjected. Kane is correct, and continued in a serene voice. The upper moons pose a significant threat, one that cannot be understated. It would take at least 3 seasoned Hashiras to stand a chance against them. Even then, defeating them would be no easy feat. Their power surpasses anything you've encountered before. This is why the ranks of upper moons have remained unchanged for centuries. Just so you guys can know, over a century, we have lost more than 10 Hashiras in battles against upper moon 6 alone. There could be more losses as our information is limited and not all encounters can be recorded or reported. Hiss, just against upper 6, we lost so many Hashiras. The room fell silent, a heavy atmosphere weighing down on the Hashiras as they struggled to come to terms with the harsh reality presented to them. Don't dwell on it so much everyone, Yubayashiki smiled gently, his calm voice dispersed the heaviness like a spring breeze. The intent of my words is not to pressure you all but to ensure that you will be cautious when facing the upper moon demons and won't underestimate them. I don't care if they're part of the 12 Kizuki or not, I plan to cut down every single one of them, Sanamai declared. After that, it will be Muzan Kibutsuji's turn. Haha, I like your flashy idea. Count me in as well, Tenjin Uzui chimed in with a confident grin. If we manage to take down an upper moon, it would deal a significant blow to the demons. Unlike lower moons, Upper moons are not as easily replaceable, Shadow Hashira Hanabi Jinsei stated in a serious tone. Namu Amida Butsu. Chiome Himajima uttered a prayer words before continuing, we are in the Demon Slayer Corps and there is no guarantee we will live to tomorrow. While it is our duty to eliminate demons, we must prioritize our survival to confront demon progenitor Muzan Kibutsuji. So instead of seeking actively, we should wait for the right opportunity. Yubayashiki affirmed. Chiome is right. In the coming years, the Demon Slayer Corps will birth strong Hashiras and promising juniors. I have a feeling we will have a decisive battle with Muzan in a few years. Therefore, I suggest everyone to hone their skills and wait for the right opportunity. We understand, everyone agreed. Hey, Coco, where's the boy who saved you from that upper moon? I'd like to have an exchange with him to see whether he's as strong as you claim. Sanami's voice carried a challenging edge. I'm also curious about him. Tell me more about him, Coco, added Tenjin Uzui. Kane paused for a moment, before replying. His name is Ryou. When I encountered him, he wasn't a demon slayer. He recently cleared the final selection and became a demon slayer. But, his strength is close to a pillar. As his strength is growing with each passing day, I won't be surprised if he already has the power to match me. He's got potential then, Jiu Tomioka gave a rare comment while his expression was unreadable as usual. I'm looking forward to meeting him, Sanami remarked with a fighting intent. Nice. It seems we'll have another Hashira among our ranks within a year or two. Uzui expressed. Indeed. It's a good thing for the Corps to welcome another formidable demon slayer into its ranks. We will have the chance to meet him once he ascends to the rank of Hashira. I have a feeling it won't be long. Yubayashiki concluded with a smile. Chapter 22, Wisteria House. Rengoku Kyojuro. After the Hashira meeting ended, the Shadow Hashira, Hanabi Jinsei, approached Yubayashiki in private. Hanabi-san, what is it that you want to speak with me alone? Yubayashiki inquired in his usual gentle demeanor. Taking a moment, Shadow Hashira met Yubayashiki's gaze as he spoke with a hint of melancholy. I know this might come as a surprise, especially given our current lack of Hashiras in the Corps, but I've come to a decision. I plan to retire from my position as Hashira. Yubayashiki listened attentively, his expression remaining unchanged, showing no sign of his inner thoughts or emotions. Shadow Hashira continued, recently, I feel myself getting weak. The injuries I sustained during my younger days have begun to resurface. I consulted the doctors, they said I was getting old. I see, Yubayashiki murmured, nodding in understanding. With a slight bow, he continued, if this is truly what you feel is best, I respect your decision. I sincerely thank you for your unwavering dedication to slaying the demons. Your efforts and sacrifices for the Demon Slayer Corps will always be remembered. Thank you, Yubayashiki-sama, for understanding. I will continue as a Hashira for 3 more months before retiring. After that, I will support the Corps by serving as a trainer. Hanabi sighed. I understand, Hanabi-san. Thank you for your support. A demon's head soared into the air before disintegrating into ashes. It's time to rest. Time to rest, Ryou. You can take a day off. The past week had been hectic for Ryou, with his Kasugai Crow constantly ordering him to travel from one place to another. Finally, he thought to himself, I can't wait to soak in a warm bath and sleep for a day. For an entire week, he had been traveling tirelessly, tracking down demons. The constant travel had left him drained. In the midst of his tasks, he hadn't found a spare moment to train and improve himself. Now he understands why it takes so long for even the strongest demon slayers to ascend to the rank of Hashira, as they are in constant pursuit of demons with little time to improve their skills. During this week, he destroyed 3 demons including the frog demon, bringing his total demon points to 4. At his current pace, he's uncertain when he'll reach the milestone of slaying 50 demons to become a Hashira. As for encountering a lower moon, it's a matter of chance. Ryou began to walk in the direction instructed by his Kasugai Crow. I was granted only a single free day since I wasn't injured in any way. After a few hours of travel, he caught sight of a mansion located on the outskirts of a town. Its door is engraved with a symbol of a wisteria flower. Wisteria House. Ryou's relieved to be finally there. As he neared, the door of the house opened. Welcome to Wisteria House, a middle-aged lady greeted warmly, inviting him inside with a smile. She led him directly to a nice room equipped with all the necessary amenities. Feel free to change into more relaxed attire. We'll take care of your clothing and gear. If you'd like, you can enjoy the hot springs before having the meal. Ryou nodded and thanked the lady of the wisteria house with gratitude. He deeply respects this family who's offering free food, accommodation, and other services to the Demon Slayer Corps. The lady smiled slightly and left the room so that he could change and take a bath. After indulging in a relaxing hot bath and a hearty meal, Ryou allowed himself to rest. He only woke up the next day, feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. Early morning. With a fresh mind, Ryou walked to the backyard of the house to practice his breathing style. A serene garden scenery greeted him. With no one to disturb him, he began his training. As he immersed himself in the flow of his nature sword style from the first form to the 9th form, a sudden sound drew his attention from behind. Your form is impeccable, and your breathing is steady and powerful. I must admit, I only witnessed such mastery of the breathing style only in #IRAs, came a voice, filled with admiration. Ryou looked up to see who was speaking to him. When he got a good look at the man bathed in sunlight, he was surprised. It was none other than Rengoku Kyojuro. He stood tall and confident, with an air of great optimism about him. The striking thing about him is the long bright yellow hair streaked with fiery red hues and distinct golden eyes. He looked exactly as Ryou pictured him, donning the iconic attire familiar from the anime. I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Rengoku Kyojuro, he said with a warm smile. And your breathing style, it's unique. What do you call it? I call it nature breathing style. By the way, I'm Ryou, he replied, nodding in greeting. Nature breathing, it's my first time hearing it. Are you a Hashira? Kyojuro asked. No, not yet. But I will soon be, Ryou replied with confidence. Ha ha ha, me too. I like your confidence. Let's work hard to become one, Ryou. Rengoku smiled brightly. Sure. Let's make a friendly competition who becomes a Hashira first. Are you ready for it, Kyojuro? Ryou asked. He likes Kyojuro's upright personality. Wonderful. I accept your challenge, Ryou, Kyojuro replied, flashing a thumbs-up sign. As demon slayers, we should set lofty goals and constantly push ourselves. I won't lose. At that moment, his Kasugai crow, Kuro, came swooping down from the sky and landed on his shoulder before disclosing his next mission loudly. Ryou, your next mission is here. A formidable demon has been sighted nearby, and numerous demon slayers have already fallen victim to it. So, you are required to team up with Rengoku Kyojuro for this mission. Proceed with caution. At the same time, Kyojuro's Kasugai crow relayed the same words to him. Looks like we'll be traveling together on this one, Ryou remarked to Kyojuro. Indeed. I look forward to working together and witness your strength, Ryou. Let's go. Kyojuro stated loudly. Chapter 23, Four-Armed Demon. After sprinting for a few hours, Ryou and Kyojuro finally arrived at the location mentioned by the Kasugai crow. By then, the sun had begun its descent, casting a warm glow over the landscape. Before them was a retro village, consisting of about 100 houses nestled between the vast rice field. It seems like the villagers rely on agriculture for their survival. The village was quiet with no movements, but both of them perceived a smell of blood lingering in the air. Without needing to explore the village, they stumbled upon a demon slayer resting beneath the shade of a tree. His body was clumsily bandaged with traces of blood. As Ryou approached the wounded demon slayer to awaken him, the slayer's alertness came into play as he regained consciousness, instinctually swinging his sword. However, his strike was intercepted by Ryu's firm grip. He held the sharp edge of the katana without any damage by hardening his hand. Seeing the two individuals in demon slayer attire before him, the demon slayer quickly came to his senses and apologized. I'm sorry. I was having a nightmare and mistook you for a demon, his voice tinged with apology. It's all right. You're in bad shape, don't swing your sword, or else your wounds may open up. Ryou reassured him, releasing his grip on the sword. We're here to help. What happened here? We were a team of 5, we came here after receiving the news of a demon attack, he explained. But we didn't expect to encounter a pack of demons, especially one with 4 arms. It's too strong. He continued, around 20 villagers lost their lives to the demon's rampage last night. Only I survived with injuries while the others were slaughtered. If not for the sunrise, I too would have perished. A kind villager dressed my wounds to prevent excessive blood loss. Are the villagers still in the village? Ryou inquired. Most of them left under my instructions, but a few are still hiding in their homes on the other side, the injured demon slayer responded. Ryou, ordinary demons wouldn't act in such a high-profile manner or group together easily. It may be a lower moon. Kyojuro suggested, his tone serious. If it's a lower moon, I'd say we're lucky. Killing one we will be directly promoted to the rank of Hashira, Ryou stated eagerly. Naturally, he didn't regard the strength of the lower moon highly, considering his current strength. Hearing the conversation between them, the injured demon slayer looked at both of them incredulously. Didn't they hear clearly what I just said and understand the severity of the situation? He couldn't help but think, perhaps they are fools. Why did the Corps only send the two of them? Take some rest, man. We will handle it from here. Ryou assured the injured demon slayer and looked at the distant horizon where the sun had completely disappeared. Kyojuro, are you ready? Ryou inquired, as they already sensed the presence of demons nearby upon arrival. They were likely hiding within the villagers' homes. Yet. Let's put an end to this matter as soon as possible, Kyojuro affirmed, his voice loud and clear as always. As the land welcomed the nightfall, a deep, roaring voice came from one of the houses. The cursed sun has finally disappeared. Following the voice, a four-armed demon emerged from one of the houses. Standing at around 6.6 feet tall with a muscular body, the demon exuded a menacing aura. Aside from its four arms, its overall appearance was human-like, which set it apart from ordinary demons. Its strong presence made the injured demon slayer tremble in fear as he took a cautious step backward, his eyes fixed on the four-armed demon before him. The memory of the previous night came back to him, the sight of his fellow demon slayers massacred by the four-armed demon. Be careful of that one, he warned, steeling his heart. He's strong, stronger than any demon I've encountered before. He's the one who wiped our squad. Is it? The demon indeed looks strong. He should have devoured countless humans to possess such strength, Kyojuro remarked solemnly as he unsheathed his Nichiren katana. He may not have the number of a lower moon in his eyes, but his strength is certainly at their level. Ryou could tell from the demon's imposing presence that it was no ordinary demon. Seeing Ryou and Kyojuro wearing demon slayer uniforms, nice. The next batch has arrived. Keep coming, so I can kill more, the four-armed demon growled, with a cruel grin on his face. He promised me that I would be promoted to the rank of lower moon and grant me a drop of his blood once I've killed a Hashira or dozens of demon slayers. From your presence, I can tell you guys aren't Hashira. What a disappointment, the four-armed demon mocked. What do you think, Ryou? Kyojuro asked, ignoring the taunts of the four-armed demon. You play with him, I will take care of the weak ones before joining you, Ryou replied calmly, drawing his Nichiren sword. Hearing their chat, the injured demon slayer finally noticed four demons surrounding them. On my god! When did we get surrounded? I didn't notice their presence. Getting Ryu's answer, Kyojuro charged at the four-armed demon with an upward sword slash, but the demon easily intercepted the strike by sacrificing one of its arms to block the attack. The next moment, the severed arm regenerated in the blink of an eye. Meanwhile, one of the other demons, a lanky demon with spiked hair, locked onto Kyojuro as its target, planning to ambush him from behind with a surprise attack. Of course, Ryou won't allow it. Breathing in, he muttered. Nature breathing, 8th form, time zone. Before the lanky demon could initiate its attack, it found his head had been cut off and saw his body disintegrating into ashes. +1 demon point. He didn't finish his attack by killing the lanky demon as he swiftly shifted his focus toward the remaining 3 demons. Chapter 24, Kyojuro vs Four-Armed Demon. Of the 3 demons, one is a female with snake-like scales covering her body, her mouth filled with sharp fangs. The other 2 were more ordinary in appearance, with clawed hands. Ryou, still in the 8th form, time zone, synchronously executed the 5th form of his breathing style, lightning storm. Blue arcs crackled around his body as he transformed into lightning itself, vanishing from view. Lightning arcs crackled around the surroundings with a sizzling sound, before Ryu's figure reappeared at the exact spot where he began the attack. At the same time, the heads of the 3 demons at different places were sent flying into the air, disintegrating into ashes before they could even hit the ground. Everything happened in a blink of an eye before anyone could hardly react. Kyojuro and the injured demon slayer were stunned by the strength shown by Ryou, as well as the four-armed demon. Plus 3 demon points. What are you doing, Kyojuro? I thought you would have finished by now, Ryou said, breathing out deeply to release the excess air from his lungs. Ha ha ha, you are strong, Ryou. I won't take much time. Kyojuro laughed heartily before assuming a standard sword stance, firmly gripping his katana with both hands. I can't show weakness before my friend. Sixth form, Hellfire. Rengoku muttered. In a blur of motion, he appeared before the demon, delivering a powerful horizontal slash aimed directly at its neck. Strangely, the demon showed no fear. Instead, it grinned wickedly and exclaimed, "Blood demon art, iron skin." Bang! Kyojuro's sword clashed with the demon's defense, creating a shockwave that sent clouds of dust into the air. But to everyone's surprise, it only left a shallow mark on the demon's skin. Only then did Kyojuro and Ryou notice a gleaming coat of metallic sheen enveloping the entire demon. The demon's not simple. It knows blood demon arts. Ryou muttered, then called out, "Kyojuro, be careful." One of the demon's arms lashed out at Kyojuro, who swiftly reacted and resisted the attack with his sword. Despite his strength, the force behind the attack blasted him backward through the air. Kyojuro landed a few meters away, skidding across the dirt before coming to a stop. "Are you okay?" Ryou asked but showed no intention of intervening. It's Kyojuro's fight. He would only step in if Kyojuro is exhausted or if something unexpected happens, but considering his strength the possibility is close to zero. MN. Good. I think this demon really has the strength of a lower moon, as I haven't encountered such a strong demon before, Kyojuro said. Of course, it is. Ryou rolled his eyes in response. Blood demon arts are inherently different from the special abilities shown by demons. Unlike special abilities, the blood demon arts enhance their strength to another level, as well as their regeneration and increase their upper limit of human consumption. The demon didn't exude even a fraction of the pressure of an upper moon demon like Doma. But, its blood demon art is tricky and it may pose a significant challenge to demon slayers who rely on swords to slay the demons. During Kyojuro's last strike, the demon's skin had hardened to the point of being impenetrable with the hardness of steel. An interesting blood demon art, Ryou thought, feeling a surge of excitement to fight the demon. He wants to find which is stronger, whether his Tekai or the demon's blood demon art iron skin. You two, aren't you taking me too lightly? Who do you think I am? Is it because I don't have any numbers in my eyes? With disdain evident in his eyes, the demon spoke in an arrogant tone, looking down upon the two and the other lower moons at the same time. Don't compare me to the demons you kill every day. Even before I became a demon, I was called Shin Akuma because I killed too many people and bathed in their blood. After becoming a demon, I killed countless humans and devoured their blood to attain such strength. It won't be long before I ascend to the ranks of lower moons. The four-armed demon chuckled. While his blood demon art may seem formidable against demon slayers, it lacks a significant advantage against lower moon demons, despite his strength being on par with them. Ignoring the demon's ramblings, Kyojuro assumed a high stance and performed an incredibly swift dash toward the demon. Flame breathing, 9th form, Rengoku. His sword released a torrent of flames that coiled around him like a blazing dragon. As he closed in on the demon, he unleashed a singular, devastating slash, aiming to cleave through its iron defense. The force of the technique was so immense that it carved through the ground in its wake, leaving behind a trail of destruction. The demon reacted by instinct, unconsciously crossing its forearms in a defensive stance, forming 2 layers of protection. But to its horror, Kyojuro's sword cleaved through his forearms effortlessly and reached for his neck, slicing through his iron skin and tearing into his flesh. For a brief moment, the demon thought he had met his end, but Kyojuro's sword halted at his neck bone, unable to proceed further. Seizing the opportunity, the demon launched a swift kick at Kyojuro, who had no choice but to evade the attack by leaping backward. Touching the blood-stained neck that's gradually regenerating, the demon felt a surge of humiliation at being nearly slain by a demon slayer who wasn't even a Hashira. As someone who spent most of his life on the battlefield, it's a shame. Now he understands why the lower moons fear facing a Hashira in battle. They are strong, only the upper moons whose strength transcended to the next level can deal with them. His senses sharpened to their peak, no longer underestimating the 2 demon slayers in front of him, even if they weren't Hashira. So close. Just a bit more, and I would have cleaved his head, Kyojuro thought loudly with a disappointed grunt. Looks like I need to intensify my training. I can't become a Hashira if I can't even cut through a demon's neck. Kyojuro, want to switch? Ryou asked. No. I'm going to surpass my limits and defeat this demon, Kyojuro declared determinedly. Alright, but don't underestimate yourself. It's just this demon's blood demon art is tricky. Ryou responded. It's true, but that's just an excuse for my weakness, Kyojuro admitted frankly. Chapter 25, Tekai vs Iron Skin. I am going to kill you, Demon Slayer, the demon declared in anger as he looked at Kyojuro. Though not Hashira, your strength is close to theirs. Perhaps, I will be granted a drop of blood if I slay you both. The demon could sense that Ryou was the tougher opponent, so he planned to finish Kyojuro first before dealing with Ryou. You have to be alive for that to happen, Kyojuro stated before executing his flame-breathing first form, Unknowing Fire. He dashed toward the demon at incredible speed, ready to unleash a powerful horizontal slash. Unlike before, the four-armed demon didn't wait for Kyojuro to complete his strike. With a powerful cry, he unleashed his blood demon art, Copper Arms. His once gleaming metallic skin reverted to a normal appearance, but his forearms transformed, gleaming with a copper sheen. Just a glance was enough for anyone to recognize the extraordinary strength exuded by his arms. Without delay, he slammed his fists into the ground, creating a deep crater that sent dust and clouds swirling into the air. The force of the demon's blow shattered the ground like a spider's web, forcing Kyojuro, who had his sword just inches from the demon's neck, to hastily retreat. Ha ha ha! Witness my true strength before you meet your end, the four-armed demon declared, as he charged at Kyojuro with intent to kill. Boom! As the copper fist of the demon collided with Kyojuro's sword, a resounding sound filled the air, and the overwhelming strength of the demon forced Kyojuro to skid several steps back. What strength? Kyojuro thought. The clash between them intensified as the four-armed demon unleashed its full might, attacking with all four arms relentlessly. Despite his gutsy attacks, Kyojuro found himself struggling to keep up with the relentless barrage of attacks as time passed. Unlike the demon with limitless strength and inhuman regeneration, he's immortal. Exhaustion began to show itself on his face, while his arms grew heavy from the repeated swings of his sword. Kyojuro panted as his chest heaved with exertion, but he refused to stop his attacks. With a fierce cry and the burning desire to slay the demon, he swung his sword once more. His attacks weren't without any results, as the demon's regeneration considerably slowed down after repeated damages. Only through consuming human flesh would the demon be able to fully regain its former strength. Just as Kyojuro prepared for his next strike, Ryou intervened, proposing, "Hey Kyojuro, I know you can still fight, but let me take over. I'm curious to test the demon's strength." "Sure," Kyojuro replied, sheathing his sword into its scabbard. "Ah!" Ryou exclaimed in surprise, then commented, "I thought you wouldn't argue. Though I can still fight, I want to see how you handle the demon and the gap between us." Kyojuro expressed his thoughts. "Good," Ryou responded. Kyojuro returned to the injured demon slayer's side while Ryou faced the demon. The four-armed demon seethed with fury at the sight of Ryou and Kyojuro's actions. It felt as though they regarded him as nothing more than a plaything or a mere whetstone to sharpen their strength upon. How dare they? The demon clenched his fists before charging at Ryou. Observing the demon's charge, Ryou stood firm without reaching for his sword, intending to confront the demon with his bare hands. It was a move that even fools wouldn't dare attempt when faced with a demon. What is he doing? Kyojuro and the injured demon slayer watched in disbelief, dumbfounded by Ryou's audaciousness. "Tekai!" Ryou silently muttered as the demon's barrage of fists struck his chest, triggering a blasting sound accompanied by a slight shockwave. But to everyone's horror, Ryou stood his ground, merely taking a single step back. As expected, the advanced level Tekai combined with my physique is formidable, Ryou thought to himself. Now, it's my turn. With swift action, Ryou countered the four-armed demon by launching a powerful kick aimed directly at its chest. His Tekai-enhanced strike connected with the demon's torso with a resounding impact, sending shockwaves rippling through the air. With a deafening boom, the demon was sent flying backward, crashing into one of the nearby retro-style houses with tremendous force. Under the impact, the entire structure collapsed with the sound of splintering wood while a cloud of dust engulfed the scene. Ah! With a fierce roar, the demon emerged from the rubble with a noticeable dent in its chest and blood trickling from the corner of its lips. Its wound is healing slower than usual, evidence of the energy expended in its prior clash with Kyojuro. "What are you?" Shin, the four-armed demon, asked, looking at Ryou with shock. A human fighting a demon with bare hands. It's unheard of. Is it blood demon art? But it's impossible since he's not a demon. Is it some kind of special ability? The four-armed demon pondered and began to doubt the path he took. How can a human possess such power? Why did I become a demon? Wasn't it for its extraordinary power? And now, a human exerts the same skill just like me. Why did I become a demon in the first place? Despite its momentary self-doubt, the demon quickly regained its focus. Unlike some demons, it retained its memories after becoming a demon. Muzan hadn't erased his memories because his ultimate pursuit in life was to become stronger and lifelong. I'm just an ordinary demon slayer, Ryou replied to the demon's question before drawing out his Nichiren sword. He didn't plan to engage in hand-to-hand combat anymore. After the single exchange, he had gauged the limit of his Tekai. Now, it was time to kill the demon. Nice, Ryou, Kyojuro commented loudly. I didn't expect him to possess such physical skills. No wonder he's so strong. It doesn't matter, the four-armed demon snapped out of his thoughts and sneered. Once I kill and consume you, maybe I'll take a step further without his help. Then come, Ryou beckoned, his sword pointing toward the demon. Chapter 26, Slaying the Demon and Meeting Stone Hashira. The four-armed demon lunged at Ryou, ferociously flailing his forearms. In response, Ryu's eyes turned red with 3 Megatama as he activated his Sharingan. The world around him seemed to slow down, with every detail flashing into his mind. With the enhanced perception granted by his Sharingan, he could see the demon's attacks clearly. He effortlessly dodged each strike before executing his first form, Wind Slash. His blade sliced through the air, creating a purplish arc accompanied by a sharp swish. Ding! The demon resisted the strike with one of his arms, which flew into the air but absorbed the force of the attack. Though it left a deep gash in its chest, it prevented the demon from being sliced in two. No wonder Kyojuro couldn't do anything to the demon. Its arms are as strong as iron. Its blood demon art is the bane of the demon slayers, Ryou mused, planning his next move. I still have a chance. Unlike its full body coverage, just enhancing its arms has flaws. With the right strength and timing, I can end this. I need to act before the demon assesses my threat and changes its blood demon art. It would be troublesome to slay the demon's neck if its entire skin were enhanced to the level of iron. Ryou didn't act immediately, he lowered the demon's vigilance by executing different forms of his breathing techniques. Aren't you going to help him? The injured demon slayer asked. No, Kyojuro replied firmly. I believe in him, just like he believed in me. Weirdos, the injured demon slayer thought. Taking turns to fight the demon seemed absurd to the demon slayer. When hunting demons, they typically worked in groups, utilizing whatever methods necessary to slay their targets. But here, it was entirely the opposite. Is this the world of the strong? Ha ha ha. Is this all you've got? I thought you were special, with your red eyes and your skill to withstand my full power attack head-on, but you've disappointed me, the demon taunted, completely relaxed. It's now. Ryou thought, performing his 8th form, Time Zone. As soon as he entered the time zone, Ryu's body shifted into rapid mode while everything else seemed to slow down. Combined with the power of his Sharingan, it was as if someone had pressed a freeze button on the world around him. 3rd form, Setting Sunday. As his Nichiren sword ignited with golden flames, the air around Ryu seemed to shimmer with an ethereal glow, casting a mesmerizing vision of a setting sun upon the battlefield. With a casual walk, he approached the demon before swinging his katana. The blade arced through the air, leaving a trail of golden fire in its wake. The four-armed demon witnessed everything, but it couldn't even move its fingers, it could only watch in horror as the blazing blade cleaved through its neck. Finally, the demon regained its movements, but its head was already sliding slowly from its neck, engulfed in flames. No! With a deafening roar of agony, the four-armed demon's form began to disintegrate. As the roar of the demon subsided, all that remained was a pile of ashes, and that too scattered by the gentle breeze that swept through. +2 demon points. Ryu stood amidst the aftermath of the battle, completely relaxed, gazing up at the bright moon hanging high above in the night sky. He muttered, "I'm slightly exhausted." Just as he thought he could relax, Ryu felt a slight pain in his chest, and with a cough, he spat out a mouthful of blood. It must be from that initial attack when I withstood the demon's blows head-on. Though my Tekai absorbed much of the demon's power, it wasn't 100% effective. The four-armed demon's blood demon art was no joke. Ryou grimaced slightly, feeling a lingering pain. His Tekai was at an advanced level, but he needed to strengthen his physique for it to work efficiently. His skill had proven formidable enough to contend with lower-ranked demons, but against upper moons, he wasn't sure. Maybe it would be enough to take a few blows, but that would be the limit. "Are you okay, Ryou?" Kyojuro asked, noticing him cough blood. "Yeah. Nothing serious," Ryou replied, wiping the blood from his lips. Considering his physique, this wound would heal in no time. "You guys are strong. You slayed the four-armed demon with ease. I'm envious. If I had your strength, I wouldn't be helpless against the demons, and I wouldn't have lost my partners." The injured demon slayer lamented. "With hard work, you can reach our level," Kyojuro encouraged. Then he turned to Ryou and said, "Ryou, I informed the Corps. They will soon send Kakushi to clean this place." "Good. He also needs treatment," Ryou said, glancing at the injured demon slayer. "Let's take some rest. We will leave once the Kakushi arrives." Kyojuro nodded in agreement, instructing the injured slayer to sit in a comfortable spot. At that moment, both Ryou and Kyojuro suddenly became alert as they noticed someone approaching from a distance. As the figure drew closer, Ryou recognized him. It was none other than the stone Hashira, Gyume Himejima. With a hulking, muscular figure towering over 7 feet tall, Gyume exuded a powerful aura. His sheer presence brought a sense of pressure upon them. It was the unique aura of the strong. There was no doubt he was the strongest human Ryou had encountered. No wonder there's no mention of a four-armed demon in the original story. It had the strength and skill to climb the ranks of the lower moons, but if it had met Gyume, its fate would have been sealed, Ryou thought. "Gyume-san." Kyojuro greeted with respect. "Kyojuro, you have grown strong," Gyume commented, his hands in prayer gesture. He then turned his attention to Ryou. "You must be Ryou. Nice to meet you. I am the stone Hashira, Himejima Gyume. You two did a wonderful job. In fact, I didn't expect you two to slay the demon," Gyume praised. "Only Hashira can deal with such demons, and even they may not always be certain of success." "True. Thankfully, Ryou and I were assigned together for this mission," Kyojuro agreed, nodding in acknowledgement. "Right now the Corps is extremely short of strong individuals, so keep up the good work and continue to improve yourselves," Gyume encouraged. "You both have the potential to become Hashira." "We will," Ryou affirmed, exchanging a glance with Kyojuro, who mirrored the same. Gyume then turned to the injured demon slayer, he spoke with a mild tone. "You fought bravely. The Kakushi will arrive shortly and provide you with medical assistance." Chapter 27, Nature Mode. Once the Kakushi arrived at the scene to clean up the aftermath of the battle, the stone Hashira left, while Ryou and Kyojuro prepared to go their separate ways for their next mission. "See you again, Kyojuro. Be safe in your missions. The next time we meet, it will be as Hashira," Ryou said with a smile. Kyojuro nodded and spoke in a booming voice indeed. "I have faith we'll make it. See you, Ryou." With that, they parted ways, each heading toward their respective destinations. Following the guidance of his Kasugai Crow, Ryou headed north. On the way, he checked his status panel. He had earned 6 demon points from the recent battle. Combined with his existing 4 points, he now had a total of 10 demon points. He wasn't in a hurry to assign them, so he decided to leave the points for now and allocate them after accumulating some more. Time passed by as Ryou continued to slay the demons. His tireless job as demon slayer made him travel to various places, encounter different people, and enjoy various delicacies. More than a year went by, tracking, fighting, and killing the demons. Yet, he didn't meet a single upper or lower moon during this time. So, his plan to slay the lower moons and reach the rank of Hashira remained unfulfilled. Of course, considering his impressive demon kill count of nearly 100 demons, he was more than qualified to become a Hashira. He heard from Kane that Yubayashiki was planning to promote him to Hashira soon. During this time, he accumulated nearly 100 demon points. Combined with his existing 10, his demon points reached 110. With that, Ryou maxed out his Tekai skill and improved his breathing style to the advanced level. He opened his status panel to take a look. Name, Ryou. Physique, Nature Intermediate, 99%. Skill, Nature Breathing, Advanced 51/200, Tekai Max, Sharingan not upgradable. Demon points, 0. It's time to push the physique to the next level. Ryou mused and looked at the sky. It was evening, and the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the world in a warm golden hue. Soon, Ryou found a quiet stream to practice his nature breathing style. The sound of the water cascading over rocks was relaxing, creating the perfect backdrop for his practice. He took a deep breath before beginning to execute each form with precision and elegance. His breathing synchronized with nature with each inhale and exhale, as he became one with the environment. As he completed the final form, a strand of natural energy seeped into his body, bringing forth a wonderful sensation. The energy broke into tiny fragments and coursed through every part of his being, strengthening his flesh, bones, and blood vessels. It was as if the very essence of nature was merging with him, enhancing his physique. Suddenly, Ryou could feel his physique reaching new levels of power. It was as if an invisible shackle within him broke free. He knew instantly that his nature physique had advanced to the next level, but he couldn't care less about this. A wonderful sensation took hold of him, enveloping him in a deep connection with nature that transcended anything he had experienced before. It was as if he had become one with nature. He could feel the whisper of the wind, the gentle flow of water nearby, the pulse of the earth beneath his feet, the fiery essence of the sun, the shifting patterns of the cloud, his lingering shadow that follows, the gravitational pull that binds all things, the passage of time, and the vast expanse of space that encompasses everything. Ryou felt intimately connected to the world around him as his senses expanded dramatically, allowing him to perceive every life form with astonishing clarity. He could feel the presence of animals, insects, and even the subtle movements of plants. What an extraordinary feeling! Enjoying the world with his senses, Ryou took a deep breath, drawing in the rich natural energy. Nature energy rushed into his body in a steady, invigorating stream. A wonderful transformation took place. His eyes turned golden, and sun-shaped marks appeared on both of his palms, like a tattoo. Is this the nature mode? What a power! Ryou marveled, feeling every fiber of his being brimming with life force and strength. Next, he found the changes in his body, the golden eyes and sun-shaped marks on his palms. In nature mode, Ryou could feel his strength had reached an unprecedented level. A single punch could obliterate a being as powerful as a lower moon demon. He's eager to test the limits of this nature mode and what kind of abilities it possesses. But, before Ryou checks them out, his extraordinary perception senses the presence of a crow flying toward him. It was not his Kasugai crow, but rather one belonging to someone else. As the crow descended and perched on a nearby branch, Ryou observed it and recognized the distinctive purple scarf adorning its neck. It's Yubayashiki Kaguya's Kasugai crow. Mr. Ryou, nice to meet you. I have a message from Yubayashiki-sama. The crow announced in its clear and mature voice. Yes, Ryou nodded, gesturing for it to continue. First, Kaguya-sama gives his heartfelt thanks for your efforts and dedication in slaying demons and protecting countless lives in the process. You have proven yourself again and again by displaying exceptional strength and mastery over your breathing style. It is with great honor that Kaguya-sama extends to you the invitation to take the position of Hashira. Your new title will be Nature Hashira. If you don't like the title, you can change it to the one you like. Please report to the headquarters. An official ceremony for your promotion will be held in the presence of other Hashiras. The position of Hashira was the highest honor a demon slayer could achieve, a testament to one's strength and skill. But, Ryou remained quite calm upon hearing the news. Considering his exceptional strength, it seemed only natural that he would be granted the title of Hashira. The only thing that caught him off guard was his designated title, Nature Hashira. However, he liked it very much. Thank you for informing me, Ryou told the crow. I will head to the headquarters immediately. Then, I will notify Kaguya-sama about your arrival at the headquarters. The crow nodded in acknowledgement before taking off into the sky. Ryou watched the crow disappear into the distance before setting off toward the headquarters. Chapter 28, Nature Hashira Ryou. Ryou reached the Yubayashiki Manor after a day's travel, guided by several kakushi who exchanged places throughout the journey. Despite the frequent changes, the travel was smooth and uneventful. The Yubayashiki Manor was nestled in a forested area, secluded and serene. He could tell from a glance it was a temporary location, not the usual Yubayashiki mansion. As he looked around, a soft voice broke his thoughts. Welcome to the Yubayashiki Manor, Ryou-sama, greeted one of Yubayashiki Kaguya's daughters. Ryou nodded in acknowledgement, unable to distinguish her from her quintuplet sisters by appearance alone. Master will arrive tomorrow at first light, along with the other Hashira. You can rest for now. We have prepared everything for your stay, she informed him, bowing respectfully. She then guided him around the manor, showing him to his room and familiarizing him with the layout. The room prepared for him was simple and looked comfortable. Thank you, Ryou replied, appreciating the care. As night fell, Ryou sat by the window, looking out at the moonlit forest. His thoughts drifted, Muzan Kibutsuji. It won't be easy to bring him down, I need a proper plan. It's not about strength but character, as Muzan is unbelievably cowardly. Any hint of a threat to his life would send him into hiding, just as he had done after his encounter with Yoriichi. With his current strength, Ryou felt confident he could fight Muzan without losing. However, he didn't have the confidence to completely destroy him. After much contemplation, he decided it was best to follow the original timeline's method. Nezuko conquering the sun is the key. It will definitely bring Muzan out of hiding. Ryou thought. The ability to conquer the sun would force Muzan to take risks he otherwise wouldn't. Let's be patient and improve the strength. With a deep breath, Ryou closed his eyes and allowed himself to sleep. The night passed peacefully, and as the sun cast its first light over the Yubayashiki manor, Ryou woke from his sleep and freshened up. He donned the black haori with purple edges that had been prepared for him. Stepping outside, he was greeted by the soft morning light and a gentle breeze that carried the fresh scent of nature. One of Yubayashiki's daughters was waiting for him outside. Good morning, Ryu-sama. Master and Hashira have arrived. They are waiting in the hall. Ryou followed her through the corridors of the manor until they reached a grand hall. The hall was impressive, capable of accommodating more than 20 guests. It was lit with lamps that emitted a golden glow, creating a serene and dignified atmosphere. As he stepped inside, he saw Kaguya, Yubayashiki and Hashira already gathered. Yubayashiki sat at the front, exuding a calm and gentle temperament. The other Hashiras sat opposite him, their expressions deep but respectful. Despite his fragile appearance and the curse mark that nearly covered his right eye, Kaguya had a smile on his face like that of a Buddha. Ryou respected this trait. Mr. Ryou, welcome, Yubayashiki. Kaguya greeted him softly, with a warm smile, his eyes reflecting both kindness and tranquility as if he had seen everything in his life. Please, have a seat. Yubayashiki continued, I have been hearing much about your strength and deeds for the past year. The Demon Slayer Corps is extremely grateful for your efforts in slaying demons. Your dedication has saved countless lives. No, I've just done my duty, Ryou replied humbly. Turning his attention to the other Hashira, Kaguya said, as you already know, all of you were called here to welcome a new Hashira into our ranks. He gestured towards Ryou. Meet the Nature Hashira, Ryou. With that, Ryou was officially granted the title of Nature Hashira. Ryou bowed slightly to show his respect. It is an honor to join the ranks of the Hashira. I will give my all to eradicate the demons and destroy Muzan Kibutsuji. Hearing his words, the other Hashiras nodded in acknowledgement with an expression of approval. Your determination is admirable, Mr. Ryou. Yubayashiki said warmly. Together, we will continue to protect humanity from the Muzan's threat. Let me introduce you to the other Hashira. Currently, there are 6 Hashira, including yourself. Meet the Stone Hashira, Gyume Himejima, Kaguya began. It's been some time since we last met, Ryou. Gyume said, his voice resonating with strength. I knew you had the potential to become a Hashira, but you surprised me by doing it so quickly. Ryou nodded. Long time no see, Gyume-san. Kaguya continued, introducing the others. Next, we have the Sound Hashira, Tenjin Uzui. Tenjin Uzui grinned broadly. Congratulations on becoming a Hashira, Ryou. Show the demons your flashy fighting style. And you already know the Flower Hashira, Kane Koko, Kaguya gestured to the only girl present. Kane gave her usual serene smile, congratulations, Ryou. I knew you had the strength to become a Hashira. Your strength will help the Demon Slayer Corps immensely. Thank you, Kane, Ryou responded with a smile, showing a gentlemanly side. He didn't dare flirt with Kane in front of everyone. Next is the Wind Hashira, Sanamai Shinazugawa, Kaguya said. Sanamai's gaze was intense as he looked at Ryou and snorted, you look like someone with strength. I look forward to testing your breathing style. I hope you aren't like someone who's weak and doubts his own path. Saying this, Sanmai scorned Jiu. You won't be disappointed, Wind Hashira Sanamai, Ryou replied confidently. And lastly, the water Hashira, Tomioka Ryou, Kaguya introduced. Ryou's usual stoic demeanor softened a little as he spoke, "Congratulations," but his deep sapphire eyes showed no emotion. "Thank you, Tomioka," Ryou said. With the introduction finished, Kaguya spoke his thoughts. "With the addition of Ryou, our core has grown stronger, but we still have a long way to go. It won't be long before other young children rise to become Hashira." He paused, his expression becoming more serious. "I have a feeling we will be facing Musen in our era." Hearing this, everyone raised their heads and looked at Kaguya in shock, knowing how accurate Yubayashiki's perceptions usually were. The room fell silent as the weight of Kaguya's words sank in. As for Ryou, he was particularly astounded by Kaguya's ability to foresee the future. It was as if Kaguya could see the future of inevitable confrontation with Musen. "But let's not dwell on this now," Kaguya continued, his tone gentle but firm. "We will discuss this in the future. For now, let's proceed with the Hashira meeting." As the meeting commenced, Kaguya took a moment to explain Ryu's duties as a Hashira. "Ryou, as a Hashira, you will be responsible for leading missions, providing help, and ensuring the safety of the people and demon slayers of the regions under your watch." Chapter 29, Ryou vs Sanemai. After half an hour, the meeting concluded. They covered various topics, including the surge in demon activity in certain areas, sightings of a lower moon, and strategies to reduce the frequent deaths of demon slayers. The meeting opened Ryu's eyes to the tireless work the Demon Slayer Corps does behind the scenes to protect humankind. Just as the Hashira began to disperse, Wind Hashira Sanemai stepped forward and stopped Ryou, his eyes gleaming with a fierce intent to fight. "You," he said, pointing at Ryou, "let's have a battle to see whether you truly have the strength of a Hashira." Ryou met Sanemai's gaze, feeling the desire for the challenge. "A battle, hey? Sure. I love to see the power of wind-breathing style." The room fell silent, the other Hashira turning their attention to the two, their interest piqued by Sanemai's sudden challenge. "Sanemai's at it again," Tenjin Uzui remarked with a grin, not surprised by Sanemai's action. Kane shook her head gently. "Sanemai-san always does this. He challenged all of us before," she noted, though she wasn't worried about Ryou since she knew his strength. Ryou stood with indifferent expression, completely uninterested in the battle. If possible, he wants to take his leave, but something within him wants to see the confrontation. Is it to watch the Wind Hashira's ass get beaten by someone? Only he knew the answer. Gyume Himejima, the stone Hashira, glanced at Yubayashiki. "Oi Akita-sama." Kaguya smiled warmly. "It's okay, Gyume. I want to see their strength. A friendly spar between Hashira is a good way to test and improve one's skills." Turning to Ryou and Sanemai, he added, "Remember, this is a test of strength and skill, so don't go far as to injure yourselves. And, please use wooden swords." The courtyard of the Yubayashiki Manor was chosen as the test ground. It was a spacious area, surrounded by lush greenery, providing a suitable spot to fight. The other Hashira stood beside Yubayashiki and his two daughters at a safe distance, eager to witness the spar. Both Ryou and Sanemai stood facing each other with bokuto, wooden swords, in their hands. Sanemai's gaze was fierce, his stance ready. "Don't hold back, because I won't. And, I want to see your true strength." "I won't," Ryou nodded. Despite his words, his form appeared casual, effortlessly swinging the bokuto between his fingers with a magical fineness. "Here I come," Sanemai lunged at him with blinding speed, his attacks as fierce and ruthless as his personality. His wind-breathing technique created powerful gusts that sliced through the air. Ryou dodged each strike with ease, his movements smooth and unhurried. This effortless evasion only seemed to provoke Sanemai further. "Fight me directly. Don't just dodge my attacks." Sanemai growled in frustration as he attacked again. He hates this feeling of just running around. "Good," Ryou replied and blocked Sanemai's bokuto, which came down with a powerful strike with his bare left hand. And with a quick shift of his body, his right elbow connected with Sanemai's chest. Bang! The force of the impact sent the Wind Hashira flying back, his feet dragging against the ground as he struggled to regain his balance. A look of astonishment crossed Sanemai's face as he steadied himself, clearly not expecting Ryu's reckless move. Why did he block it with his hand? Sanemai wondered, expecting his strike to have broken Ryu's hand. But when he looked up, he was shocked to see not even a trace of a bruise on Ryu's hand. Though it was just a wooden sword, considering Sanemai's strength, it was enough to break bones, yet Ryou blocked it with his bare hand. Such means. The other Hashira watched in amazement, they began to respect Ryu's strength. He's strong. Gyomei commented. Shinazugawa-san, don't hold back. He isn't an ordinary person. Even if you use your Nichiren blade, you wouldn't be able to injure him, Kane said, adding fuel to the fire. What are you doing, Kane? You're supposed to support me, Ryou thought and looked at Kane, who simply smiled by covering her mouth. This woman, she's poisonous, Ryou thought, but he had to accept she's good at it. Sanamai touched his chest, where a slight pain lingered, and then showed a fierce grin. Not bad, Ryou. You're really strong. It seems I don't have to hold back in my attacks. I thought you weren't holding back. Ryou said with a hint of amusement. Sanamai's eyes narrowed, don't underestimate me, you bastard. A mist-like breath emanated from his mouth as he dashed at Ryou with incredible speed. He shouted. First form, Dust Whirlwind Cutter. A powerful wind slash unleashed from his wooden blade, tearing through the air and ground as it came directly at Ryou. The force of the attack was immense, sending wind gusts through the courtyard. Any ordinary person would have been blown away if they were in the vicinity. Thankfully, Yubayashiki and his daughters were protected by the other Hashira, who stood before them and easily nullified it. This time, Ryou met his blow head-on. Third form, Setting Sun. Ryu's Bokuto ignited with golden flames, as it clashed with Sanamai's wind slash. The collision between wind and flames was a sight to behold, while the force of the impact sent shockwaves through the air. But, Ryu's powerful strike broke Sanamai's Bokuto and rushed towards his chest. Sanamai leaped back to avoid it, narrowly escaping the blow. It was clear that Ryou had won. Of course, he hadn't used his full strength, doing so could injure the Wind Hashira heavily or leave a lasting memory. He had no plan to show his full strength. You win, Sanamai admitted his defeat, but he was disappointed. His fierce expression softened slightly as he smiled. You are strong. We'll have to spar again when we have time. Good. Kaguya Yubayashiki, who had been observing the entire exchange, stepped forward with a serene smile. An impressive display of strength, both of you. I'm happy to see the addition of a powerful Hashira within our ranks. The other Hashira nodded in approval, recognizing Ryu's strength. Even the stone Hashira, who was considered the strongest among them, acknowledged Ryu's strength. He's grown stronger since I last saw him, Gyomei remarked. Chapter 30, Nature Manor. Shortly after the battle, the Hashira began to disperse. Ryou also left the Yubayashiki Manor and headed to the Hashira Manor handed to him, which will be his place of residence. Once everyone left, Kaguya Yubayashiki turned to Gyomei, the only Hashira who remained. What do you think of his strength? Yubayashiki Kaguya asked in a tranquil voice. Gyomei took a moment before replying truthfully. I can tell, he held back against Sanamai. His strength should be stronger than mine. Kaguya's eyes widened slightly, showing a rare expression of surprise. Stronger than you? He repeated, clearly impressed. Gyomei nodded. I'm not sure exactly how strong he is, but from his breathing routine I can sense extraordinary strength. He is indeed a child full of surprises. With him among us, I have greater confidence in dealing with the high-level demons. Yubayashiki Kaguya said. The news of Ryou becoming the Hashira spread quickly among the various regions of the Demon Slayer Corps. Though not many people knew about him, it didn't stop them from gossiping. Ryou traveled for a day before reaching the location under the guidance of his Kasugai Crow. From a distance, he could see a pagoda-like structure nestled in the valley of Hana along a tranquil water stream. The estate bore the name Nature Manor. Situated a few kilometers away from the nearest town, it's remote and to Ryu's liking. The structure blended perfectly with the surrounding environment. As he approached the manor, Ryou noticed that the building was rather large, standing 2 stories high, with a clearing to the west wing connecting to a vast training ground. Sakura and wisteria trees stood firm along the borders of the estate, their blossoms swaying gently in the valley breeze. This was the nature estate provided to Ryou by the Demon Slayer Corps. It will be his permanent home from now on, as the estate is strategically situated at the center of the region under his watch, allowing him to travel to all necessary locations in the shortest possible time. What a nice place! I won't get bored even if I spend a lifetime here, Ryou sighed. As he took in the serene beauty of his new home, 2 young girls approached him, bowing respectfully. Welcome to the Nature Manor, Ryou-sama. We are appointed by the Yubayashiki manor to take care of your daily necessities like food, clothing, and even arranging your appointments, one of them said. I'm Yui, Yui introduced herself with a warm smile. And I'm Hina, the other added, mirroring her sister's gesture. Ryou looked at them closely and couldn't help but notice their striking resemblance. Are you girls twins? He asked. Both of them were short and cute, with round faces and deep brown eyes. They had black hair tied into two neat pigtails with red ribbons and adorned with cherry blossom hairpins. Both wore pastel-colored kimonos with floral patterns. One thing differentiated them, their eyes and personality. Yui's eyes were bright and expressive, reflecting her lively personality, while Hina's eyes had a softer look, hinting at her shyness. Yes, we are, Yui replied to his question with a smile. We were brought up by the Yubayashiki household from a young age. You said something about appointments? Ryou inquired, curious. Yes. The time of a Hashira is precious, so we make sure you weren't disturbed unnecessarily during your free time by other members of the Demon Slayer Corps. Only after getting your consent are they allowed to come here, Yui explained respectfully. Nice, Ryou thought it made sense. Hina added, Ryu-sama, we got a message from the flower Hashira that she will come tomorrow. Kane's coming? Okay. Ryou nodded. Yui then stepped forward, let us show you around the manor, Ryu-sama. They began the tour at the entrance, moving through the first floor. Yui pointed out the various areas as they walked. This floor has the living area, dining room, kitchen, and several guest rooms, she explained. We will take care of all your meals, Yui said. If you have any special requests, just let Hina know. She cooks all the dishes as she's better than me. They then ascended to the second floor. This is your private area, Hina said softly. It includes your room, study, and a collection of books. They continued the tour and headed to the expansive training ground in the west. This is the training ground, Hina said softly. It's designed to help you practice your skills. You'll find various training equipment, dummies, and obstacles here for your training. Ryou scanned the area, impressed by the effort put into preparing the training ground. He remarked, Kaguya-sama is thoughtful. Of course, Yui responded with a smile. Hashira are the backbone of the Demon Slayer Corps. Everything here is meant to ensure you can train with peace of mind and become strong. Thank you, Yui, Hina, for showing me around. I am going to practice for a while. You guys go and do your work, Ryou said with a smile. Take your time, Ryu-sama. We will cook a delicious lunch for you, the twins bowed slightly before retreating to the manor. As the twin girls left, Ryou decided to test his nature mode, which he hadn't had the chance to fully explore before. He stood in the middle of the training ground, and with a thought, he entered the nature mode. His eyes turned golden, and he instantly felt a surge of power. His senses heightened dramatically, allowing him to perceive even the slightest motions around him. Drawing his Nichiren sword, Ryou muttered, First form, wind slash. With a swift slash, a powerful wind pressure surged forth from his blade and shattered a training dummy in the distance. As the slash was imbued with natural energy, it was devastatingly powerful. He hadn't even exerted 10% of his strength, yet the attack was incredibly strong. Oh my, such power, Ryou marveled. If I use my entire strength, there's a chance it will destroy the entire courtyard. After a short pause, he continued testing his other forms without exerting much strength. With each form, his control over natural energy became more refined as if it was flowing through him. After a few minutes, the training ground, though designed to withstand harsh attacks, was now riddled with slash marks, cracks, and even fissures. Seeing the state of the training ground, Ryou decided to halt his practice for now. He had another interesting thought, what would happen if he combined natural energy with his Sharingan or Tekkai? Chapter 31, Kane's Arrival. Ryou opened his Sharingan, allowing the natural energy to flow through it. As he channeled the natural energy, aside from the usual clear vision and heightened senses, he found something different. There was an additional energy as if he could utilize it to visually control others. No doubt, I can now use illusion. He could now use illusion techniques, similar to the genjutsu of the Sharingan, but how far he could use them, he didn't know yet. He was eager to explore it further as it's formidable in battle. Next, he turned his attention to Tekkai. Let's test Sharingan later. Closing the Sharingan, he channeled natural energy into his muscles as he performed Tekkai. His skin took on a slight sheen, a translucent film shrouded his entire body. This added layer not only improved his strength but also made him feel tough and impervious. Without thinking, Ryou clenched his fist and struck the ground with a punch. The force of the impact was tremendous, far surpassing what he envisioned. With a thunderous noise, a shockwave spread out, sending rock and dust flying into the air. The force of the blow created spider-like fissures that radiated from the point of contact, splintering the earth in all directions. "This is incredible," Ryou muttered to himself, glancing around. "And it seems like I overdid it." The sheer power of his punch left a deep impression on the training ground, nearly devastating it entirely. "What happened, Ryu-sama?" Yui and Hina emerged with nervous expressions. Seeing the nearly destroyed training ground, they were initially horrified. How did it come to this? Instead of worry, they felt a surge of excitement. "Ryu-sama is so strong. It seems like I went too far," Ryou said, scratching his head with a sheepish smile. "No need to worry, Ryu-sama," Yui replied, her eyes sparkling with respect. "We will inform the Yubayashiki household to use stronger materials for reconstructing the training ground." "Sorry for the trouble, you two," Ryou spoke. "No problem, Ryu-sama." Yui and Hina replied and went off to do their duties. The combination of natural energy with Sharingan and Tekai has elevated their power to a whole new level, Ryou mused. With his current strength, he felt confident that he could even fight upper moons barehanded. Ryou ended his training and focused on utilizing natural energy to improve his physique proficiency. The day passed quietly, filled with practice and some chatter with Yui and Hina. The next day, an unexpected visitor from the swordsmith village came to the nature manor Kozo Kanamori, the one who forged his Nichiren sword. He wore the same dark pink mask as always. Seeing him, Ryou greeted warmly, "Kanamori-san, please come in. It's good to see you. What brings you here today?" Kanamori stepped inside the manor, his eyes shining with respect and a hint of excitement. "I wanted to personally congratulate you on becoming a Hashira. With my sword in your hands, you have ascended to the rank of Hashira. It's not every day that a swordsmith sees his sword wielded by Hashira, the strongest demon slayers of the core. It's a proud achievement for both of us. I am very happy." He even shed tears of joy as he continued. "In addition, I have come to ensure your sword is in perfect condition and engrave the words Destroyer of Demons as you have reached the rank of Hashira." "I see." Ryou then handed over his Nichiren sword to Kanamori. Unsheathing the sword from the scabbard, Kanamori's eyes sparkled. He inspected the blade closely, running his fingers along its edge with admiration. "It's perfect without any damage. Only someone with exceptional skill can wield a sword without causing the slightest damage." Regarding the comment, Ryou simply smiled. After that, Kanamori carefully prepared his tools and began the meticulous work of engraving the words Destroyer of Demons onto the blade. At that moment, Hina came to serve tea and said, "Ryu-sama, Flower Hashira is here." "Good." Ryu's eyes lit up. Turning to Hina, he said, "Stay here. If he needs any help in the process, assist him." Hina nodded obediently. "Of course, Ryu-sama." When Ryu went to meet her, he found Kane seated gracefully on a tatami mat in the traditional Seiza style, enjoying the tea served by Yui. As the saying goes, women become more beautiful with age. "It holds true for you," Ryu said with a smile. Kane's tall and graceful figure, adorned with perfect curves, was complemented by her flowing black hair and mesmerizing pale violet eyes. Her presence exuded strength, elegance, and charm, making it impossible for Ryu to take his eyes off her. My! You haven't changed a bit, Ryu-san," Kane said, maintaining her usual smile. However, she was secretly blushing, noticing Ryu's gaze lingering on her chest as he praised her beauty. Is he praising me or? Kane wondered, her blush deepening despite her efforts to maintain her composed demeanor. Observing the exchange between the two Hashira, Yui giggled inwardly and quietly exited the grand hall, leaving Ryu and Kane alone. Ryu smiled, enjoying the rare sight of Kane revealing her girlish side. Knowing he shouldn't push her too hard, he inquired, "What brings the beautiful Kane here? Did you perhaps miss me?" Kane charmingly rolled her eyes at Ryu and said, "No. I came to ask for your advice, Ryu. Lately, I've felt that my strength has reached a fixed state with no sign of improvement. The Tekai skill you taught me also seems to have stopped improving. My intuition tells me that you could help me break through. Is it women's intuition? It's terrifying. Ryou said with a playful grin. Then his expression turned serious. Let's go to the training ground. Kane nodded, and together, they left the grand hall and walked to the training ground on the west side of the manor. As they strolled, Ryou struck up a conversation. How's that girl Shinobu? I haven't seen her for nearly a year. Kane showed a genuine smile at the mention of her sister. She's doing well. Despite not possessing the physical strength to cut off a demon's head, she has found a way to fight demons with powerful wisteria-based poison. And she's good at it. To make up for her lack of natural-born combat ability, she mastered the medical and pharmaceutical fields, Kane explained. Her knowledge of poisons and medicine is exceptional. In a year or two, her strength may even reach the level of Hashira. Ryou nodded, that's good, but I hope she doesn't push herself too hard. It seems you care about her very much. Kane mentioned with a smile. Of course. I see her as my little sister and I hope she doesn't fight the demons. Ryou said. Hearing his words, Kane sighed softly. Indeed. I too wish she could be a normal girl, free from all this, and live a carefree life, but it's impossible with demons roaming the land and her childhood experience of losing our parents to a demon. She hasn't forgotten that. We all have our reasons for fighting the demons. But it's important to find moments of peace and do things that make us happy, even in these dark times. Ryou said as they reached the training ground. Chapter 32, Improving Flower Breathing. As they reached the training ground, Kane was dumbfounded by all the cracks, fissures, and small craters scattered across the area. What happened here? She exclaimed, her eyes widening in surprise. Ryou replied with a sheepish grin. I might have gone a bit overboard with my training yesterday. I was testing out my new moves and didn't expect them to be so powerful. Kane's mind raced. What is he saying? Can testing new moves cause such damage? Even if I used all my strength, I don't think I could cause this much damage. Has his strength reached such a level? Kane's eyes sparkled with curiosity. I want to see your strength. Can you show me? Of course, Ryou nodded. But first, let's address your concerns. Please demonstrate your flower-breathing style. Okay, Kane agreed. Ryou opened his Sharingan, which caught Kane by surprise. It was the first time she had seen his eyes change into 3 Tomo Sharingan. Such beautiful eyes. Kane thought, but she didn't ask any questions. She drew her Nichiren blade, its pink hue reflecting the sunlight. She took a deep breath as she activated her breathing technique. With graceful movements, she began executing her flower-breathing techniques. Her form was flawless, and her speed was impressive. Each slash of her blade was like a blooming flower, precise and beautiful. First form, Withering Rose, she called out, making multiple slashes that curved upon hitting the air, creating a beautiful yet deadly pattern. Ryou watched intently, his Sharingan copying and analyzing every detail. Second form, Honorable Shadow Plum, Kane continued, releasing several rotating sword slashes that seemed to deflect imaginary incoming attacks. She moved on to the next form, third form, Deadly Nightshade, she dashed forward with incredible speed and thrust her sword, creating mirage images that confused the eye. Fourth form, Crimson Hanagoromo, Kane continued, unleashing a single sword slash that curved and twisted gracefully. Kane demonstrated the other forms with the same level of skill and grace, each one more impressive than the last. 10th form, Dance of the Lotus, she called out, beginning an endless sword dance. Her body moved with enhanced flexibility, and each slash of her sword became faster and stronger, creating a mesmerizing display. It was as if a flower goddess was dancing before him. Final form, Equinoctial Vermilion Eye, her eyes sharpened as if she could see every detail in slow motion. After a moment, she paused. This final form raises my kinetic vision to its extreme, allowing me to perceive the world in slow motion. However, it's highly dangerous, putting tremendous strain on my eyes. I can use it occasionally without causing too much strain, but it's risky. What you showed is more than enough. Give me a moment, Ryou said. Closing his eyes, he let the memory of Kane's movements replay in his mind. His Sharingan had captured every detail, allowing him to analyze, understand, and enhance the techniques to the next level. With the Sharingan's ability, Ryou was able to find the flaws in the flower-breathing forms. Given his mastery over his own nature-breathing style, it was not a problem for him to correct some of the shortcomings in flower breathing. After a few moments, he opened his eyes and stated, the flower breathing style primarily focuses on agility, but you can make use of your flexibility and softness to increase your offensive power. Kane listened attentively but found herself struggling to grasp what he was saying and how to integrate it into her breathing form. Ryou noticed her difficulty and shook his head gently. "Let me show you," he said, stepping forward. He began to breathe in a rhythm similar to the flower breathing style, and then, with precise and elegant movements, he executed the forms. Each slash, each movement, was more refined and powerful than what Kane had demonstrated. Kane's eyes widened in surprise. "His forms are, even better than mine," she whispered, unable to hide her astonishment. In no time, he completed all the forms she showed. Kane was speechless. "Am I the flower Hashira, or is he?" she thought. He had not only mastered the flower breathing style but had elevated it to a new level, making the movements more skillful and increasing the attack power significantly. "You are truly a wonderful person. Is this the ability of your eyes?" Kane asked, looking at his crimson Sharingan. "You can say that. But forget about my eyes for now. Go through the forms I showed you. Let me correct any mistakes," Ryou replied, calmly diverting the topic. He didn't know how to explain his Sharingan, as he had already given some explanation for Tekai. Some things were better left unexplained than covered with lies. "Good." Kane agreed, she didn't ask further. She then began to practice under Ryu's guidance. Each time she performed a form, Ryou would provide advice and make adjustments, helping her improve her technique. As she practiced, she could feel her breathing style becoming faster and stronger. After 2 hours of practice, Kane was exhausted and drenched in sweat, but she could feel the improvements in her skills and was grateful for Ryu's guidance. "Thank you, Ryou," she said, panting slightly. But, she noticed Ryu's gaze wasn't on her face. When she followed his line of sight, looking down, she froze. The sash that held her kimono together had come undone at some point during the intense training, revealing a glimpse of her cleavage. Though not entirely exposed, it's definitely a feast for Ryou. A blush spread across Kane's cheeks as she quickly moved to fix her kimono. "Ryou-san, please look away. I think you have seen enough." Ryou turned his head away with difficulty and reluctance. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to stare," though he said that his eyes wandered around, betraying his words. His actions and reluctant look made Kane laugh, and she began to enjoy his attention. In fact, she didn't even feel embarrassed in his presence. If it had been someone else, her sword would poke their eyes by now. After making sure she was properly covered, Ryou turned around with a gentlemanly posture and said, "I didn't see anything clearly." Kane laughed by covering her mouth. "You're a terrible liar, Ryou-san." Chapter 33, Kane's Departure. Ryou smoothly diverted the topic without any embarrassment. "Let's talk about Tekai. What stage have you reached? It's been a year since I taught her the skill. I wonder how much she has improved," he mused. Kane replied, "I can harden my muscles without moving, but I can't do it while in movement." Ryou nodded. "Let me see. Tekai." Kane muttered. Ryou reached out to touch her arm, feeling the hardened muscles and assessing her level. Impressive. Her progress had reached the peak of the beginner stage, just short of advancing to the intermediate level, where she could perform Tekai while moving. "You've made excellent progress," Ryou praised. "To advance further, you need to strengthen your physique. Tekai relies on your physical strength. The stronger your body, the more powerful your Tekai will be." Ryou then shared his tips and tricks for efficiently controlling body movements while performing Tekai. He then demonstrated advanced Tekai, showing the hardening of specific body parts. "Keep practicing. Once you can perform Tekai while moving, your strength will increase drastically," Ryou encouraged. "Thank you, Ryou. Tekai is such a useful skill," Kane said with a smile. Since she had practiced it, she knew just how strong the skill truly was. She felt extremely grateful to Ryou for teaching her the skill, as it may save her life in danger. For another hour, Ryou helped Kane practice her skills and offered some suggestions to improve her physical strength. Just then, Hina approached and informed Ryou, "Ryou-sama, Kanamari-san has finished the work on your Nichiren sword. It is ready." "All right. I'll come and see," Ryou replied, nodding in acknowledgement. Turning to Kane, he said, "Kane, want to come inside with me?" Kane rejected his invitation with a shake of her head. "I have to go. I've already spent more time here than I intended. As a Hashira, I can't afford to be absent for too long." You should understand this. Ryou nodded understandingly, though a hint of disappointment surged in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face. I understand. Thank you for coming today. See you again, Ryu-san. Kane said with a slight bow. She turned to leave the nature manor, but her steps seemed reluctant. She didn't want to leave, but after a brief pause, determination became evident in every step. Duty as a Hashira and her responsibility to protect humanity from demons took precedence over personal feelings. Ryu could sense that Kane harbored some special feelings toward him, but he could only watch her figure vanish from his view. A sense of loss welled up within him as frustration became evident on his face. He clenched his fists and muttered, "Damn Muzan! Damn the demons! If not for them, I could spend more time with Kane. I am going to destroy them to the core." Seeing his dark expression, Hina hesitantly called, "Ryu-sama." Snapping out of his thoughts, Ryu waved his hand dismissively, "Nothing. Let's go." He glanced once more in the direction Kane had gone before following Hina to check on his Nichiren sword. Inside the manor, Kanamari-san had engraved "Destroyer of Demons" perfectly onto the blade. The words gave the Nichiren blade a sense of completeness and purpose. "Nice work, Kanamari-san," Ryu remarked, running his fingers along the blade's edge. Kanamori bowed deeply. "It was an honor to forge a sword for a Hashira like you, Ryu-sama. May it help you well in destroying the demons. I will take my leave now." "Be careful on the way," Ryu replied. Shortly after that, Kanamori left the nature manor. From the next day, Ryu's regular life as a Hashira resumed. With the constant threat of demons and the lack of manpower, his responsibilities were heavy. He not only defended his own territory but also covered the areas typically patrolled by other Hashira whose ranks were currently unoccupied. Each day, Ryu woke up before dawn to train his breathing style and improve his physique. Being frequently on the move, he only had little time to rest and train. Of course, there were also times when he wouldn't encounter or find any demons for weeks. The days passed by with Ryu providing aid to demon slayers in need, defending villages and towns from demon attacks, investigating reports of any suspicious demon activity, and even guiding the demon slayers. As the days turned into months, Ryu's reputation as a formidable Hashira grew. His incredible strength and skill boosted the demon slayers, who began to hear tales of his prowess. Stories of nature Hashira beheading demons with a single slash spread through the ranks of the demon slayer corps, filling them with respect and yearning. Just like that, nearly 6 months passed. Ryu, your presence is needed in the north. Nagano Prefecture, his Kasugai crow cawed urgently as it landed on his shoulder. A group of demon slayers has encountered a strong demon. Hurry, hurry. Yes. Let's hope nothing happens before I get there. Ryu muttered, calculating the distance. From his current position to Nagano, it was nearly 80 kilometers. Even with his speed, it would take him close to 2 hours to get there at the fastest. Without wasting any time, he sprang into action and dashed forward. His form turned into a blur as he sped through the forests and mountains. After 2 hours of sprinting, he finally arrived at the scene and entered nature mode. His senses perceived everything within a few hundred meters. The sight was grim. Nearly 5 demon slayers lay dead, their bodies lifeless on the ground. There's no demon in sight. A single remaining slayer, alive but unconscious, was being treated by a young lady and a young man. With his senses, Ryu realized that these two were demons he was familiar with, Tamayo and Yoshiro. What a coincidence! He thought. The astonishing thing was that he couldn't see them with normal eyes. If not for natural energy, he would have overlooked them. Ryu thought, it should be Yoshiro's blood demon art, blindfold. Tamayo and Yoshiro, oblivious to Ryu's presence, were focused on tending to the wounded demon slayer. Chapter 34, Tamayo. Tamayo-sama, are you sure it's safe to bandage the injured demon slayer? Yoshiro is concerned about their safety, but his loyalty to Tamayo is unwavering as he never left her side. Tamayo gave her usual gentle smile. He's a human in need of help, Yoshiro. As a doctor, we should help. Tamayo-sama, you are so kind, but putting yourself in such danger for an unknown person, what if the humans misunderstand once they discover our presence? Yoshiro protested weakly, his voice filled with unease. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Your blood demon art isn't that easy to crack. We will leave within 2 minutes once I finish the first aid, Tamayo reassured him. It's clear Tamayo won't listen to his complaints and worries. Since the doctor has already decided, Yoshiro could do nothing but try his best to conceal their presence. She's careless. Far too careless, but such a kind Tamayo-sama is more beautiful. Yoshiro stared at Tamayo's gentle face. Their current situation was dangerous, as they were making themselves targets for both humans and demons. A single mistake could cost them their lives. While Yoshiro didn't mind dying for Tamayo's sake, the thought of anything happening to her was terrifying. Knowing them and their kind intentions, Ryou revealed himself and spoke in an easygoing tone, "Thank you for your help." Tamayo and Yoshiro were startled by the sudden voice behind them. In a flash, they turned around to see Ryou in his Demon Slayer outfit standing just a few feet away. How did he get this close? I hadn't sensed him at all. Yoshiro's entire body froze as sweat formed on his forehead. Their instincts as demons screamed at them to flee, but Tamayo remained calm, understanding there was no chance of escape. His overwhelming presence, it's the strongest Tamayo had perceived in a long time, matching Yoriichi, who nearly beheaded Muzan. Such a strong human. With his strength, there might be a chance to kill Muzan. Hope surged in Tamayo's heart. At that moment, Yoshiro snapped out of his daze, ready to sacrifice himself so Tamayo could escape, but before he could do anything rashly, Tamayo placed a hand on his shoulder. "Don't do anything rash, Yoshiro. He's incredibly strong, he must be a Hashira." "You're a Hashira?" Yoshiro muttered, his eyes wide with fear. Ryou nodded. "Yes, and you can relax. Though you guys are demons, I can see that you're not enemies. Thank you for helping the injured man." Hearing his words, Tamayo and Yoshiro's faces relaxed slightly, but their entire being remained in a cautious state. They couldn't afford to let their guard down, facing a Hashira who could kill them at any moment. "We didn't kill the demon slayers. We were just trying to save the one who's still alive," Yoshiro hurriedly explained, afraid Ryou might misunderstand. "I know. Where's the demon that killed them?" Ryou asked, his eyes scanning the surroundings. "It died by the wounded demon slayer's sword." Yoshiro lied, trying to avoid their involvement in the demon's demise. Ryu's teasing gaze met Yoshiro's. "It seems like you two killed the demon," he said calmly, seeing through the lie, but he didn't press further. "We..." Yoshiro began, his voice trembling as he swayed on the edge of a mental breakdown. Ryu's presence was scary, as if his life could end at any moment. How can a human be this terrifying, even if he's a Hashira? This human is different from the others. He didn't judge us just because we are demons. If it was someone else, they might have killed us before hearing our words. It's as if he knows us completely from the inside out, and our thoughts are easily read, Tamayo thought. Maybe he's the key to defeating Muzan. Tamayo's mind raced with possibilities. As a demon who had lived through centuries, she had witnessed countless battles and encountered many powerful humans. But Ryu's different. He has the strength to confront powerful demons like Upper Moon head-on. Above all, she appreciates Ryu's ability to look beyond their demonic identities and understand their motives. In a world where most saw demons as enemies, his vision set him apart. This quality made Tamayo trust Ryou. If she could earn his trust, they might find a way to end Muzan Kibutsuji, the demon progenitor. It didn't matter if she died in the process, eliminating Muzan was her priority and lifelong pursuit. Thinking through, she spoke. "I am Tamayo, and this is Yoshiro. My life's wish is to eliminate that man, Kibutsuji Muzan. If we combine our strengths and knowledge, we may have a chance to bring him down. There is something I've been working on for a long time, a drug that could weaken Muzan significantly. But I need more time. To create such a drug, it's crucial to study the blood of numerous demons, especially those closest to Muzan. This means obtaining samples from the lower moon and upper moon demons. I know it's incredibly dangerous." Before Tamayo could continue, Ryou raised his hand to stop her speech. "I appreciate your honesty," Ryou said. "Though you're a demon, you saved a human life, and I respect that. I don't know the reason why you want to kill Muzan, despite being a demon yourself. Everyone in the world has a story, and yours is no different. But it doesn't truly matter. If you're willing to fight against Muzan, then you're an ally, regardless of what you are." Ryou paused before continuing, "However, I can't help you with your request to collect the demon blood. It's not that I'm afraid of confronting the upper moons, it's just that I can't encounter them. No matter how hard I try. It's as if they can escape my pursuit as soon as I get close to them." "I understand," Tamayo nodded and explained, the lower moons are afraid of death. They fear the Hashira, knowing they are no match. Most of the time, they command weaker demons to hunt in their stead. If Muzan doesn't give them commands, they do their own things. Of course, there are some exceptions as some lower moon demons don't fear death. She continued, as for the upper moons, it's more difficult to track their location because they don't leave any traces. Most of the intel the Demon Slayer Corps gathers comes from survivors or reports of suspicious activities. If there are no suspicious activities or survivors, it's nearly impossible to find them. Ryou chuckled, it seems like you know the Demon Slayer Corps better than I do. I have lived longer, Tamayo said with a faint smile. Chapter 35, Flame Hashira. After some thought, Ryou accepted Tamayo's proposal and decided to help her collect the demon blood. The reason he hesitated at first was because he feared that his interference might alter the future. However, after thinking for a while, he reasoned that his involvement wouldn't cause significant changes. There was only one thing that had to remain unchanged, Nezuko conquering the sun and Muzan finding it. I will help you with this, but understand trust is a delicate thing. Betray it, and I won't show mercy. Ryu's serious gaze seemed to pierce through Tamayo and Yoshiro. Of course, he knew Tamayo wouldn't betray him, but he couldn't accept the proposal without some threats, it would only raise suspicions. I know, Tamayo said and then requested, please keep our collaboration a secret. I trust you, but I can't say the same for other members of the Demon Slayer Corps. After all, most of them have been deeply affected by the demons. I can't expect all of them to be as compassionate. Good. Ryou agreed. Yoshiro and I will be leaving this area, Tamayo said. I have a feeling Kibutsuji's minions may track this place soon. It's too risky to stay in one place for a long time and we need a new place to hide. So, if you want to contact us, you can do so via this cat, Tamayo said. A Burmese cat with a sleek brown coat and striking silver eyes jumped down from a tree. Ryou wasn't surprised, as he had sensed its presence earlier. Similar to the cat Cha-Cha-Maru that appears in the future, this one also wore a necklace with a paper talisman around its neck, possibly using it to conceal itself. Then we will take our leave, Tamayo and Yoshiro bid their farewell with a slight bow of thanks, and their forms vanished into the night-shrouded forest. Shortly after Tamayo and Yoshiro's departure, a team of Kakushi arrived. They swiftly transferred the injured slayer to a nearby medical facility. The fallen slayers were respectfully taken back for a proper funeral. A few days later, Ryu's Kasugai Crow came with a message from the Yubayashiki household. Ryu, Rengoku Kyojuro has killed a lower moon demon and will be appointed as the new Flame Hashira in a few days. Please come to the Yubayashiki mansion if possible. Finally. Ryu smiled at the crow's message. He took his time to become a Hashira. Ryu replied to the crow. Inform Kaguya-sama, I will be there. 2 days later. On the day of the ceremony, Ryu arrived at one of the Yubayashiki mansions, a secluded location hidden from demon eyes. The other Hashira were also gathered in the outer courtyard of the mansion, except for the recently promoted Mist Hashira. Ryu saw familiar faces as he entered the gate of the mansion, Chiume Himejima, Gyutomyoka, Kane Koko, Sanamai Shinazugawa, and Uzui Tenjin. Rengoku Kyojuro was also present, seated off to the side. Ryu's arrival attracted everyone's attention. After greeting everyone familiarly with brief words, Ryu took a seat beside Kane, his eyes flashing with a hint of teasing. It's been some time, Kane. How have you been? He asked with a smile. Kane gave her usual smile. I've been well, Ryu-san. At that moment, Kaguya Yubayashiki appeared with his wife, Amini, and his child, Kirya Yubayashiki. Like always, Kaguya's presence had a sense of calm and gentle demeanor. Thank you for coming, my children. You all should have heard the good news. Rengoku Kyojuro has proven his strength by killing a lower moon demon. It's newsworthy of celebration. Kyojuro, you are an astounding boy, will you support the Demon Slayer Corps from now on as a Flame Hashira? Kaguya asked. Yes, Kyojuro answered, his face bright and his smile radiant. I am honored to receive the title of Flame Hashira and I accept this responsibility. I will continue to fight the demons with all my strength to protect humanity and kill Muzan Kibutsuji. Kyojuro said with a determined and enthusiastic face, as he stood up from his seated position. His determined words made the other Hashira nod their heads in approval, while Kaguya remarked softly, wonderful, and announced. Now, let's proceed with the semi-annual Hashira meeting. After 2 hours, the Hashira meeting ended with usual discussions on matters such as demon activities and respective Hashira assignments. After the meeting, Ryou took the opportunity to catch up with Kyojuro, congratulating him on his achievement. "Kyojuro, you've done it. I'm happy for you, my friend," Ryou said warmly, patting his shoulder. "Thank you, Ryou," Kyojuro replied with a wide smile. "But you became a Hashira before me. It seems like I lost this bet." Ryou chuckled. "Yes. So, you're going to buy me food? I'm hungry, and I won't let you get away before I empty your purse." "I don't mind, Ryou," Kyojuro laughed heartily. They decided to head to a udon shop in the nearby town. As the evening set in, they found a cozy udon shop tucked away in a corner of the bustling town. The aroma of freshly cooked noodles filled the air, drawing them in. They sat down at a wooden table, and the owner greeted them warmly. "Welcome, guests. What would you like to have?" "2 bowls of your best udon, please," Kyojuro ordered loudly with enthusiasm. His exuberance startled the old owner slightly, but he still smiled and nodded. After a few minutes, their food arrived, steaming bowls of udon with perfectly cooked noodles and savory broth. They dug in, savoring each bite while continuing their conversation. Ryou asked, "Tell me about the lower moon you killed, Kyojuro. Was it strong? From your state, I can see you got injured." "Delicious," Kyojuro declared with a loud outburst before replying to Ryou. "It was a lower moon 2 demon. It had the ability to create and manipulate shadows. It was pretty strong, but I surpassed myself and killed the demon." Ryou nodded, "Truly remarkable. But it's not enough. I have to get stronger. I don't want to see my comrades falling beside me," Kyojuro said with determination blazing in his eyes. It seems like many people died during the mission, Ryou thought, understanding Kyojuro's emotion. After finishing their meal, they thanked the owner and stepped out into the cool evening air. It was time for them to go their separate ways. "See you, Kyojuro. From now on, we will fight together against the demons as Hashira and protect the people." Ryou said his goodbye and walked away. "Yes," Kyojuro replied. Chapter 36, Mount Natagumo. Nature Manor. Ryou, who was practicing his breathing technique, suddenly opened his eyes, sensing a presence. In the next moment, a Burmese cat appeared before him, seemingly out of thin air, with a talisman around its neck. Nearly 2 years had passed, and Ryou had grown significantly. Now standing nearly 6 feet 2 inches with a well-proportioned, lean, and ripped physique, he exuded strength. His shoulder-length, lush black hair, parted both ways, framed his face, and gracefully concealed his ears. His calm demeanor, coupled with his height and impressive physique, gave him a commanding presence. "Meow!" The cat called out to Ryou in a cute tone. On its back, it carried a letter from Tamayo. "It's been some time since I last saw you, Rini. Looks like you've grown plump," Ryou teased the cat affectionately as he retrieved the letter from its back. Why did Tamayo send a letter at this time, could it be? Ryou thought, quickly opening the letter to take a look. As he guessed, she mentioned Tanjiro and Nezuko, and how they had encountered Muzan Kibutsuji. There's something about this boy named Tanjiro. Even Muzan sent his minions after him. And his sister, her blood is different from all the demon samples I've collected so far. Her demon blood isn't under Muzan's control. I believe her blood holds the key to perfecting the drug I have been developing. I've entrusted the boy with the task of collecting demon blood samples, as my intuition tells me he will encounter higher-order demons. If possible, please help the boy and girl. They are good kids with potential." Ryou mused over the letter, realizing that events were unfolding similarly to the original timeline. Tamayo had finally managed to obtain Nezuko's blood and will soon develop a drug that can turn demons back into humans. Everything is on track. After a few seconds of thought, Ryou penned his reply and sent it back with the cat. "Tanjiro Kamado. I can't wait to meet him. The protagonist of this world." Ryou chuckled inwardly. In his free time, Ryou searched for traces of the Kamado family but couldn't find them. After a period of searching, he eventually gave up since it was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Over these years, the only notable events were the appointments of new Hashira, including the Serpent Hashira and the Love Hashira, bringing the total number of Hashira, including himself, to 10. As a result, his responsibilities and tasks had recently relaxed, allowing him more free time. Ryou opened his system panel. Name, Ryou. Physique, Nature Advanced, 0-40%. Skill, Nature Breathing, Advanced 51/200, Tech High Max, Sharingan not upgradable. Demon Points, 0-250. His physique had improved significantly, now at 40% into the advanced stage. Additionally, his demon points had reached an astronomical figure of 250, earned from slaying nearly 200 demons, with over 50 of them being special ones. Recently, it had become increasingly difficult to improve his physique. The system had mentioned that the advanced physique was the limit in this world, and it didn't bother introducing him to the next supreme level. After some thought, Ryou decided to focus on improving his nature breathing technique. He allocated 150 demon points which upgraded his advanced stage nature breathing to proficient 1/500. As the improvement took effect, Ryou's brain froze for a second. The system imprinted new experiences directly into his mind, making it feel as though he had practiced in a white space for countless years. This intense, immersive training session allowed his skill to break through to the next level. The memories were fresh in his mind, and the 9 forms of nature breathing were now imprinted into his memory and muscle reflexes. Although this upgrade didn't enhance his physical strength, it greatly improved his skill level. Ryou could feel the difference immediately. The connection between his mind and body had been refined to a new level of balance. What a wonderful feeling, Ryou thought, lying on his back in the grass beneath the sakura tree. As he lay there, the sun's rays filtered through the delicate pink petals of the sakura blossoms, casting a shadow on his face. He allowed himself a rare moment of relaxation, enjoying the serene breeze. At that moment, Yui approached him with a tray filled with food in her hands. She called in a soft tone, afraid of disturbing his relaxed mood. "Ryu-sama, your breakfast is ready." Hearing Yui's call, Ryu sat up and looked at Yui who had a tray full of food. "Thank you, Yui. I don't know what I would do without you guys." Ryu chuckled, accepting the tray from her. He then gestured for her to join him. "Come, have it with me. I've been feeling a bit bored lately." "Yes, Ryu-sama," Yui smiled, taking a seat next to him. "There's been a noticeable decrease in demon activity in our region. It's been relatively quiet without any distress calls in the past few days." Ryu nodded thoughtfully, picking up a piece of fruit from the tray. "Quiet times like these are rare. But I think it's the calm before the storm. Times are changing." 3 days later. After sundown, Ryu's Kasugai Crow arrived with a new mission from the Yubayashiki mansion. Ka. Ryu, urgent mission. Demons at Mount Nadagumo. The demon slayers need help. Yubayashiki-sama thinks it may be 12 Kizuki. Mount Nadagumo, isn't that where Tanjiro meets a lower moon named Rui? It seems like something has changed since I'm being sent there. Ryu thought. Finally, I can meet a lower moon. Without wasting a moment, Ryu set off immediately. As he sprinted through the way, he asked his Kasugai Crow, "Is there anyone else besides me on this mission?" "Yes, Water Hashiragi Utomyoka and Shinobu Koko will tag along due to her expertise in medicine and poisons." "Good." At that moment, Mount Nadagumo. The trio of Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu finally reached Mount Nadagumo after traveling for a day. The mountain stood tall with an intimidating presence, and the darkness made it even more foreboding. Just outside the forest cloaking the mountain, Zenitsu demanded a halt. "Would you two mind waiting for a second?" "What happened, Zenitsu?" Tanjiro asked. "I'm scared, all right," Zenitsu said, shaking and hugging his knees. "Why is he sitting? He's weird." Inosuke mocked. "You're one to talk, pig face. Don't tell me you're not getting any vibes from that mountain," Zenitsu retorted. Suddenly, Tanjiro sensed something with his incredible sense of smell. "What is this smell?" he muttered before sprinting a few steps forward before coming to a halt. A boy in a demon slayer uniform lay on the road. Seeing them, the boy looked up with wide, terrified eyes and said, Help me, please help me." "What happened? Are you all right?" Tanjiro asked, rushing to help. But before he could reach him, the boy was suddenly jerked into the air, still begging for aid. He moved too fast and was too high for them to go and help. "I am going," Tanjiro said, shivering slightly. "I'll go on ahead. You can follow," shivering. Inosuke grinned, brandishing his dual swords. With that, they both ventured into the eerie forest without hesitation, leaving Zenitsu behind. Chapter 37, Lower Moon Ryou. After an hour of travel, just a few hundred meters away from Mount Natagumo, Ryou encountered Jiyu, Shinobu, Kaneo, and a division of Kakushi. Despite the lingering tension in the mountain, the presence of the Hashira brought a reassuring calm to everyone. Ryu-sama. The Kakushi called out his name respectfully, their eyes filled with admiration and respect for the nature Hashira. Ryou acknowledged them with a nod before turning his attention to the stoic-faced man beside him. Long time no see, Jiyu. Jiyu gave a slight nod in return. It's been a while, Ryou. Ryou then turned to Shinobu, his tone warm. You've grown even more beautiful, Shinobu. Thank you, Ryou. Shinobu's eyes sparkled with amusement as she stepped closer and whispered, my sister thinks about you every day. I don't know what kind of love potion you gave her. You mischief maker. I know your sister well, she isn't one to be swayed by mere words. Ryou rolled his eyes with a smile on his lips. It's been some time since I saw Kane, I wonder how she is. Finally, Ryu's gaze landed on Kaneo. And Kaneo, you've grown as well. Kaneo gave a small respectful bow, her face expressionless as usual. Let's move quickly. If we waste time, there may be more casualties. I will deal with the lower moon, you guys take care of the minions, Ryou said. Without waiting for a response, his figure blurred and disappeared into the dense forest of Mount Natagumo. Jiyu, Shinobu, and Kaneo immediately sprang into action, following him into the forest, while the Kakushi followed closely behind, ready to assist the injured. Ryou activated his nature mode, instantly perceiving everything within a few kilometer radius. In the heart of the mountain, he sensed the fierce battle between the lower moon demon Ryou and Tanjiro. Without hesitation, he headed in that direction. Meanwhile, Jiyu headed off to assist Inosuke, while Shinobu made her way to help Zenitsuo after receiving the distress call from his sparrow, just as it had happened in the original work. When Ryou arrived at the battle spot, he saw Tanjiro using total concentration to bring his breathing under control while his sister, Nezuko, was suspended mid-air, entangled by the silver threads of the demon while blood dripped from her wounds. After a moment, Tanjiro dashed toward the lower moon demon. Seeing him approach, the lower moon demon Ryou lashed out with his silver threads. Tanjiro unleashed water breathing, 10th form, constant flux, relying on rotation to gather force and slash through the threads that came at him. Suddenly, he found himself able to cut through the threads unlike before. Seeing this, Ryou sneered, you don't think these threads are at their maximum strength, do you? Blood demon art, cutting thread cage. The threads originating from Ryou suddenly turned blood red, humming with more power than before. The threads formed a menacing cage of cutting red threads. Tanjiro despaired at the sight, thinking, I'm going to die. But at the last moment, he exhaled sharply, releasing a white mist between his teeth while his breathing pattern changed. The water breathing technique transformed into the fiery flames of the sun breathing style, Hinokami Kagura dance. The blood-red thread cage shattered as Tanjiro charged forward, slicing through the lethal threads. Ryui's eyes widened in surprise, and he sent several stronger threads toward the oncoming Tanjiro. In a flash, Tanjiro cut through some while sustaining injuries from others. At that moment, the unconscious Nezuko woke up and activated her blood demon art, triggering an explosion of reddish-purple flames. The blast distracted and injured Ryou. Everything fell into place as Tanjiro closed the remaining distance and sliced through Ryui's neck with a decisive flame slash. Tanjiro fell to his knees, every muscle aching from the strain. He had done it. He had killed Lower Moon 5 or so he thought. Slowly, Tanjiro tried to crawl toward Nezuko to check on her. He was halfway there when he felt the menacing presence of the demon again. How can he still be alive? I chopped his head off. Did you think you defeated me? Poor kid. I hope your delusion brought you some joy, Ryou said, his voice filled with anger. I cut off my head with the threads, before you could chop it off. I haven't been this enraged in a long time. I will kill both you and your sister. Only that will satisfy me. The demon reattached his head with the threads and began walking toward Tanjiro, who was still crawling toward Nezuko. I've seen enough. It's time to send this demon to hell, Ryou thought, stepping out from the shadows of the forest. Someone's here. Sensing his approach, Tanjiro lifted his head, struggling to focus as he looked at Ryou. The overwhelming presence emanating from Ryou made it clear to Tanjiro that the person who came was exceptionally strong. Good fight, boy. I also thought you finished off the demon. Pity. Your strength still falls short of defeating a lower moon, Ryou remarked, his voice carrying a hint of amusement. Another human? You guys are like an endless stream of lowlives getting in my way, Ryou muttered in rage. Ignoring the demon's outrage, Ryou squatted near Tanjiro and asked, You are in pretty bad shape, boy. Are you okay? Tanjiro looked at Ryou in shock, wondering why he was exposing his back to the lower moon demon. Bloody demon art, cutting thread rotation. Without moving his gaze from Tanjiro, Ryou countered with a powerful back elbow slam. Bang! The air crackled with energy, unleashing a shockwave that obliterated the incoming blood-red threads into mere wisps. The power of his casual blow shocked both Tanjiro and Ryou so much that their mouths fell open wide in astonishment. Impossible! Ryou thought, his disbelief evident as he unconsciously took a step back in fear. No human can possess this level of strength. Such strength! Who is he? Is he also a demon slayer? Tanjiro wondered. KKK. A mere lower moon demon dreams of hurting Ryou. Tisk. Ryou, finish off that demon. Show them our power, his Kasugai Krokuro cackled arrogantly, perching atop a nearby tree. Boy, do you like crow meat? I've got one who's grown rather arrogant lately, Ryou asked in a determined tone as if he was ready to kill the crow. Hearing his tone, the Kasugai crow snorted and flew off. At the same time, the spider demon Ryou looked at Ryou with the fear evident in his eyes. Instead of launching another attack, he decided to flee. However, he barely managed to take a step before something whizzed past him. Ryou's eyes widened in shock as his head flew from his shoulders. For a moment, everything seemed to slow down. His body crumpled to the ground, turning into fly ash. I'm dying, he thought. Within seconds, his presence completely vanished from the world. The once formidable lower moon demon had died without even understanding how. Meanwhile, Tanjiro watched Ryou in astonishment. One moment, Ryou was next to him, the next, he was in front of the demon, severing the demon's head with his Nichiren sword. So strong. I couldn't even catch his movements. Tanjiro marveled. At that moment, another presence appeared in the surroundings. In the blink of an eye, Ryou's figure stood before Tanjiro. Chapter 38, Hashira assembles. Tanjiro, are you all right? Tomioka Ryou asked in his calm demeanor. Seeing Ryou and the demon's ashes, he understood the lower moon had been defeated. Ryou, meanwhile, was distracted for a second by the system's sudden reward for slaying a lower moon demon. Demon points +5. Killed a lower moon. Reward, transparent world, non-upgradable. I'll check it out later, he thought, closing the system panel. With that, he turned to face Ryou and Tanjiro. Tanjiro was huddled protectively with his sister. Ryou's eyes narrowed as he looked at Nezuko. A sudden idea came to him, and with a hint of mischief gleaming in his eyes, he thought, let's play a villain card. Is that girl a demon? She doesn't look like one. I didn't even notice her. Ryou commented, his Nichiren sword slashing through the air menacingly. Ryou stood between Tanjiro and Ryou in a protective stance, his hand on the Nichiren blade. Oh my, Ryou, are you protecting a demon? Ryou chuckled. Tomioka remained silent. Boy, Ryou shifted his gaze to Tanjiro. That girl you are protecting is a demon. Please move away. Since you fought the lower moon commendably, I won't make this hard for you. Please, she may be a demon, but she's my kid sister. She hasn't hurt any human beings, Tanjiro pleaded, hugging Nezuko tightly. Oh, I understand. I will make sure she's beheaded in a single slash. She won't feel any pain, Ryou replied, his tone deadly serious. What? Tanjiro's face went pale. Can you move? Ryou asked calmly. Make yourself move, even if you can't. Take your sister and run. Tomioka-san, Tanjiro muttered, thank you very much. Tanjiro escaped with Nezuko, disappearing into the forest within moments. What are you doing, Ryou? You're aiding a demon, this is against the Corps' rules. Ryou spoke, his voice filled with feigned anger. He slashed at Ryou with his Nichiren sword, which he countered with a strike of his own. Clash! The powerful collision between the Hashira sent a shockwave that toppled nearby trees, turning them into logs. Ryou retreated, his feet skidding against the ground. The force behind Ryu's strike sent powerful vibrations through his sword and into his hand, causing a slight twinge of pain. Ryou didn't attack again, he asked, what do you see in them, Ryou? You seem willing to go to great lengths to protect that boy and his sister. Ryou's grip on his sword tightened. They are not enemies. She hasn't harmed any humans. She is different. I sent a letter to Kaguya-sama, there will be a reply soon. Is that so? With that, Ryou sheathed his sword and nodded at Ryou. I trust your judgment, Ryou. Ryou relaxed slightly, while somewhat surprised in his heart. He knew Ryou to some extent, having gone on missions with him 4 times. Ryou's playful character often masked his true thoughts, making it hard to predict what he was thinking. As for his strength, he's the strongest figure within the Demon Slayer Corps, as even the Stone Hashira isn't his match. The Stone Hashira Gyume had once remarked, Ryou's strength could rival that of the Upper Moon demons. As these thoughts ran through his mind, he looked at Ryou and uttered, "Thank you." At that moment, a soft voice interrupted them. "What are you two doing here? Is the demon taken care of?" Shinobu descended gracefully from the sky, her haori billowing as she landed lightly on her feet. "Yes. It was Lower Moon 5, Ryou replied. Shinobu pouted. "Why did you kill it so quickly, Ryou?" "I was looking forward to fighting the Lower Moon." Ryou shrugged, "It's just another demon, dead with a slash. Considering your strength, it wouldn't pose much of a challenge. If you want, I can take you to play with an Upper Moon." "Tisk. You're bragging again," Shinobu retorted, rolling her eyes. Suddenly, a loud caw came from overhead, and Ryu's Kasugai crow delivered a message. "Message. Message. Caw. Message from headquarters. Tanjiro and Nezuko are to be taken into custody and brought back to headquarters. Tanjiro is a boy with a scar on his forehead and a checkered haori. Nezuko is a demon girl wearing a bamboo muzzle. Bring them back. Bring them back." Kasugai crows echoed the message from headquarters throughout Mount Nadagumo. With that, the battle at Mount Nadagumo came to an end. Ryou, Ryou, and Shinobu regrouped with the rest of the Kakushi, who took care of the aftermath. The surviving demon slayers were tended to and sent to the Butterfly Mansion, while the fallen were prepared for respectful funerals. Tanjiro and Nezuko were taken into custody and transported to headquarters. "Let's head back," Ryou said, "we have a meeting to attend." The group made their way to Yabayashiki headquarters, where the Hashira were to assemble for an important meeting. The journey was relatively quiet, with Tanjiro and Nezuko being carried by the Kakushi, under the watchful eyes of Ryou and Ryou. By the following morning, they arrived at the Yabayashiki mansion. The other Hashira were already gathered in a grand open-air courtyard, surrounded by lush gardens. Including him and Ryou, there were 10 Hashira present: the Serpent Hashira, Obanayaguro, the Love Hashira, Mitsurai Kanroji, the Flame Hashira, Kyojuro Rengoku, the Wind Hashira, Sanamai Shinazugawa, the Stone Hashira, Gyume Himejima, the Mist Hashira, the Sound Hashira, and the Flower Hashira, Kane Koko. "Oh, Ryou, you're here. Is that the boy traveling with the demon?" Rengoku asked, looking curiously at Tanjiro. "Yes. Has Kaguya-sama arrived yet?" Ryou inquired. "No, but he will be here soon," Rengoku replied with a bright complexion. After greeting every Hashira, Ryou approached Kane, his usual charm in full display. "With each passing year, you are becoming more beautiful, Kane." Hearing his words, Mitsurai, standing next to Kane, turned red and laughed softly. She thought in her heart, Ryu-san is flirting with Kane-san so openly. How romantic and bold. As for the other Hashira, they were used to Ryu's playful pursuit of Kane with sweet words. Accustomed to his flowery words, Kane rolled her eyes and shifted the topic. "How's Shinobu?" "She's doing well. I can tell she's become stronger under your guidance." "She went to the Butterfly Mansion to take care of the wounded," Ryu replied. Kane nodded, pleased to hear him praising Shinobu. Chapter 39, Hashira Assembles, 2. "Are you going to sleep all day? Wake up already!" The Kakushi shouted, shaking Tanjiro awake. His eyes snapped open, disoriented. "Disappointing. When I heard about a demon slayer traveling with a demon, I expected someone flashy. This one looks like an ordinary kid." Tenjin Uzui shook his head as if Tanjiro had failed to amuse him. "We will put this boy on trial." "It must be done," Kyojuro Rengoku declared, his expression optimistic and unwavering. Tanjiro looked around at the group, noting their diverse hair colors ranging from pink and green to white, fiery red and yellow, and even some normal black. 9 powerful presences stood before him, each exuding an aura stronger than any human he had ever encountered. Who are these PEOP? He began to speak, only to be interrupted by the furious Kakushi above him. Don't open your mouth, you moron. Just who do you think was standing before you? You're in the presence of the Hashira. Hashira? What is a Hashira? What is he talking about? Who are these people? Tanjiro thought, confusion evident on his face. Where am I? He asked aloud. This is the Demon Slayer Corps headquarters, Kane Koko spoke gently with her usual smile. And you are about to be put on trial, boy. Before we start, why don't you explain the crime you comm? A trial isn't necessary, Rengoku interrupted. Protecting a demon is a clear violation of the code. We can deal with this ourselves. We can execute both of them. In that case, I am glad to decapitate them flamboyantly. I'll show you the flashiest blood spray you've ever seen. Maximum flamboyance. Uzui stated. Ah, what a pitiful sight this boy is. The poor soul. Chiome lamented, his eyes brimming with empathy. Let's put him out of his misery. MN. Kyojuro agreed. Yeah. Let's do it flamboyantly, Uzui added. Nezuko. Where's Nezuko? Tanjiro began frantically searching for his sister and his friends. Forget that. What shall we do with Tomioka? Based on what I heard, he is as guilty as the boy, Iguro Obanai commented. Seeing him stand there without any restraints gives me a headache. Don't you have anything to say, Tomioka? Let's wait for Kaguya-sama, Ryou, who had been watching the show, finally spoke up. I am more interested in the boy's story. Despite being a demon slayer, he travels alongside a demon. I wish to know why, Kane said and turned to Tanjiro, can you tell me the reason? No need to ask, Uzui interrupted. No. I need to know. Kane said forcefully. Tanjiro looked around at the Hashira, his heart thumping. He took a deep breath and explained, that demon is my sister, Nezuko. When I was away, my family was killed while she was turned into a demon, but she has never harmed a human till now and never will. She's different. I believe she can fight alongside the demon slayers as a demon. Please, believe me. Shinazugawa, who had been missing for a few minutes, returned with a ferocious grin, carelessly holding a wooden box in one hand. Is this the moron demon slayer who has a demon with him? What do you think you are trying to pull here? Shinazugawa demanded. This won't do, Shinazugawa-sama, a female Kakushi came and interjected, opposing his actions. Please, would you mind putting down the box? Don't act out of line, Shinazugawa, Kane said, her usual smile absent from her face. Anyone familiar with her would know she was angry. What did you say about the demon, kid? That she can fight as a demon slayer to protect humans? You know what we call that? A total delusion, moron. With that, Shinazugawa drew his sword ready to stab the box. At that moment, an overwhelming presence surged through the courtyard, suffocating everyone as if a mountain was pressing them down from above. Instinctively, the Hashira's hands reached for their weapons. Didn't you hear what Kane said, Shinazugawa? Ryu's voice sliced through the oppressive atmosphere, yet it remained casual. But, the oppressive aura radiating from Ryu was absolute, sending cold sweat trickling down everyone's foreheads. The two Kakushi trembled in their feet, paralyzed with fear, fully aware that the strongest Hashira, Ryu was angry. Powerful. Tanjiro thought. This kind of frightening presence, he had only felt before in Kibutsuji Musen. His presence is scary. But, he's so strong. The love Hashira, Mitsurai thought. Facing his presence, there was only one word in their mind, overwhelmingly strong. My. Please, Ryu-san, there are others present, Kane spoke. Tisk, Shinazugawa, being him, threw the box aside and immediately confronted Ryu. Are you trying to show off your strength, you bastard? Come on, who do you think you are? Against the furious wind Hashira, Ryu casually apologized, my apologies. I got carried away, though his face betrayed he wasn't sorry. Shinazugawa felt as if he had punched cotton. He couldn't attack someone who had apologized, even if that bastard didn't look sorry. At that moment, the voices of two children sounded in unison. The master of the mansion has returned. Yabayashiki Kaguya wearing a white haori over a black kimono stepped out. His two daughters took his hands and led him to the edge of the porch. "Good morning, everyone. The weather is nice today. I'm happy that we made it to the semi-annual Hashira meeting without any possible changes in the rank." As a sign of respect, all the Hashira knelt on their knees, including Ryou, who respects the Yubayashiki family's dedication to fighting the demons and protecting the innocent people. "I am pleased to see you in good health as well, Master," Shinazugawa said. "I pray fervently for your continued good fortune." "Thank you, Sanamai." Shinazugawa got straight to business and asked politely. "If I may, Master, before we start the Hashira meeting, would you mind enlightening us about this boy, Kamatu Tanjiro, accompanied by a demon?" "Right." Kaguya smiled gently and spoke. "I apologize for startling you all. Regarding Tanjiro and Nezuko, I have sanctioned their situation." The Hashira stared at their master, some with their mouths slightly agape. He added in a soft voice, "And, I'd also appreciate it if you all accept this." Silence reigned for a moment before the Hashira began to react. Chiyome, Uzui, Rengoku, and Shinazugawa opposed straightforwardly, while the others remained silent. Ryou watched everything unfold as if it were a scene in a movie, his expression quiet. As if expecting a wave of objections, Yubayashiki remained calm. "Letter," he spoke to one of his daughters. The one on his right obliged, pulling a folded letter from her kimono, and read aloud. "The former Hashira, Mr. Urokodaki, sent this letter. I shall read an abridged version of it to you." She ended the words with, "If Nezuko hurts a human, Mr. Urokodaki and Gyutomyoka will atone by committing seppuku." Following that, the events unfolded much like the original story. Shinazugawa cut his own arm and stabbed Nezuko a few times to test whether she could truly resist the hunger to feed on the humans. Of course, Nezuko performed well by turning her head away in visible disgust. She clenched her teeth, resisting the urge with all her might. Despite the intense provocation, Nezuko remained firm, proving her ability to resist her demonic instincts. Her performance left a strong impression on the gathered Hashira, at least they are somewhat convinced. Kane then offered to take the siblings into the Butterfly Mansion, intrigued by the unique bond between the human brother and demon sister. After the events involving Tanjiro and demon girl Nezuko were over, the Hashira finally gathered inside the mansion for their semi-annual Hashira meeting. Since it was the first time in years that Muzan Kibutsuji had revealed himself, Kaguya formed a team of 2 Hashira, Obanai and Shinazugawa, to trace Muzan's whereabouts. Chapter 40, End of Lower Moon. Twing. The sound of a biwa resonated through a vast labyrinth of twisting stairs, disorienting halls, and endless floors. Lower Moon 6, Kamanu, blinked in confusion as he found himself suddenly transported to unfamiliar surroundings. Where the hell is this place? His thoughts raced as he took a look around. He quickly noticed he wasn't alone. The other lower moons had also been summoned. Lower Moon 4, Myokugo, stood with a sweat-filled face, while Lower Moon 3, Wakaraba, had a grim look on his face. Lower Moon 2, Rokuro, glanced around warily, and Lower Moon 1, Inmu, walked on a floorway with an emotionless face. The only one missing was Lower Moon 5. They were scattered throughout the area, some standing sideways, others upside down, defying the laws of gravity. The space around them was surreal, an infinite expanse of stairs, walls, hallways, rooms, and other structures stretching out in every direction. This was the Infinity Castle. Lower Moon 6's gaze fell upon the biwa woman sitting far away, her fingers poised over the strings of a biwa. Is this her blood demon art? He wondered. Twing! The sound of the biwa rang out again. In an instant, the lower moons were transported to a platform beneath a towering, elevated one. Atop the high platform, next to the biwa demon, stood an unfamiliar female demon. The lower moon demons felt a sudden restlessness at the sight of her. What's the deal with this woman? Who is she? As they were puzzled by her identity, a voice they all knew too well sliced through the air, freezing them in place. Lower your heads and crouch down, the female demon commanded, her voice unmistakably that of Muzan Kibutsuji. The lower moon demons, recognizing the voice that held their fates, immediately prostrated themselves without hesitation. The realization dawned on them: this unfamiliar female demon standing before them was none other than Muzan Kibutsuji in a different form. Please forgive us. Since you've assumed a different form and aura. Lower 4 uttered in panic. Who gave you permission to speak? Muzan cut in sharply, his voice cold. Don't presume to voice your worthless thoughts. Answer my question, and nothing else. Muzan continued, Ryou was killed. I'm talking about Lower Moon 5. I have but one question to ask you all. Why are you so weak? For a century, the upper moons have remained unchanged, effortlessly disposing of the Hashira, while you lower moons flee at the mere mention of their name. How many times have you been replaced? That's easy for you to say, but we. Lower Moon 6 thought, but before he could finish thinking, Muzan continued. That's easy for you to say, but we, what? Go ahead and finish your sentence. Muzan's eyes narrowed. He can read my mind. I'm screwed. Lower 6's thoughts spiraled into panic. Please forgive me, Kibutsuji-sama. Please forgive me. Lower 6 screamed in fright as Muzan's grotesque demon arm seized him. But his pleas fell on deaf ears. Muzan's grip tightened, and in an instant, the Lower 6 was crushed, his body reduced to a puddle of blood and flesh, leaving the other Lower Moons trembling in fear. Are you more afraid of demon slayers than you are of me? Muzan's voice echoed through the chamber. Then, just as in the original timeline, Muzan slaughtered every Lower Moon demon except for Lower Moon 1, Inmu. He infused Inmu with a substantial amount of his blood and gave him a task. Your mission is simple, kill a Hashira and the boy with the Hanafuda earrings. If you succeed, I will reward you with more of my blood. Do not fail me. Near the outskirts of Asakusa. The woods were quiet under the soft glow of the moon, the only sound being the rustling leaves as 4 demon slayers moved along the path. Ryou walked beside Kane, his eyes occasionally drifting to her, her delicate features bathed in the silvery light. Even in the dim glow, she looked beautiful. You know, Kane, Ryou started with a mischievous grin, it's really unfair that you are both strong and gorgeous. It's like you are trying to make the rest of the world look bad. Kane turned her head slightly, her lavender eyes sparkling with amusement. Ryou, you should know by now that flattery won't influence me. He chuckled, leaning in a little closer as they walked. Who said I'm trying to influence you? I'm just stating facts. Though, I wouldn't mind if you got attracted. Kane shook her head with a soft laugh. You're unbelievable, Ryou. Whenever you get a chance, you'll find a way to tease or flirt with me. I still don't understand what it is that you see in me. With all your strength, shouldn't you be focusing on the task at hand? We're here to trace Muzan, after all, maybe put a little of that effort into the mission. Ryou grinned, I can multitask, you know. Besides, who says I can't do both? Track down Muzan and tease you along the way. Kane laughed, covering her mouth with a hand. Just don't let my presence distract you too much, Ryou. We're tracking Muzan's whereabouts, who knows what kind of demon might show up. Even though Yubayashiki-sama created a smokescreen by sending the 2 Hashira in another direction, it isn't easy to deceive demon progenitor, who has lived for over 1,000 years. It's true. It isn't that easy to trace Muzan's whereabouts. Ryou nodded, but don't worry, Kane. When it comes to protecting you, I'm always at my best. Kane shook her head and gently tucked a strand of hair behind her left ear, a simple action that sent a fluttering wave of emotion through Ryu's heart. What the? Ryou thought, placing a hand over his heart. How can such a simple action look so beautiful and stir such emotions within me? Looks like I've fallen too deep in love with her. Noticing his reaction, Kane turned to him with concern. What happened? Is something wrong? Ryou simply replied, nothing. After a brief pause, he added by mimicking her actions, just, don't do things like this when you're with me. It drives me crazy. Kane's cheeks took on the faintest hint of a blush, though she kept her composure. I will try. A few steps behind, Tatsuya and Haruka, the 2 demon slayers who worked under Ryou, exchanged a glance, both struggling to suppress their reactions to Ryu's relentless teasing. Tatsuya, with his stormy grey eyes narrowing in annoyance, let out a small sigh. I didn't know Ryu-sama had this side. We're supposed to be seriously tracking down Kibutsuji Muzan. Haruka, walking beside him, stifled a giggle as she observed the interaction between Ryou and the flower Hashira. Her dark blue eyes sparkled with amusement. Come on, Tatsuya. Can't you see Ryu-sama is deeply in love with Kane-sama? They make a nice pair. Tatsuya nodded, albeit reluctantly. True. But it's like watching a bad romance novel. Haruka giggled again, nudging him playfully. Maybe you should take notes. Who knows, you might learn something. Info. Name, Tatsuya Arashi. Appearance, short, spiky black hair with silver streaks running through it. His eyes are a deep, stormy grey, reflecting his determined and fierce personality. He's slightly taller than average, with a lean, muscular build that shows his rigorous training. Personality, intense and serious, often hyper-focused on his training and missions. He deeply respects Ryou, the nature Hashira, for his strength. Breathing style, storm breathing. Name, Haruka Aozora. Appearance, Haruka has long, flowing hair that's a soft shade of lavender, usually tied back into a high ponytail. Her eyes are dark blue, and she is of average height with a slender, agile build. She comes from a demon slayer family and has a small charm of a bird, given to her by her family, hanging from her waist. Personality, cheerful, kind, and optimistic. She admires Ryou for his strength and practices under his guidance. Breathing style, simple version of nature breathing.
Thanks for listening.